She is the Empress of the Great Flame Dynasty, yet she summoned an unskilled Xiao Tian to be her consort. Little did she know, Xiao Tian is an earthling from a higher dimension in this lower dimensional alternate space. Standing up alone already makes him invincible. One day, Xiao Tian woke up only to find a woman next to him. This woman, with her exquisite beauty and breathtaking curves, left Xiao Tian utterly stunned. How did this woman end up on his bed? Did he do something inappropriate? After a moment, the woman finally gathered herself and explained awkwardly, "I slept here just to silence the ministers." It turned out, she was the Empress of the Great Flame Dynasty. Due to the undercurrents in the court, many ministers advised her to marry. Unwilling to be dictated by the ministers, she used a talisman to summon a servant from another space and time. And Xiao Tian? He was an ace of a 21st century assassination organization. That day, he was about to be ambushed by a rival group. Just as he was about to act, he suddenly found himself in a strange room with a red cloth covering his head. Empress Zoro looked at the summoned Xiao Tian, who had no cultivation and was just an ordinary man. Xiao Tian just stared blankly at the woman in front of him. Her delicate face, her statuesque figure, and that indomitable aura. She was just perfect. The woman let out a soft sigh. "Oh well, a mortal will do. It will save a lot of trouble." Xiao Tian, looking confused, asked, "Who are you? Where am I?" The woman looked down at him and said, "I am the Empress of the Great Flame Dynasty. From today, you are the Prince of the Great Flame Dynasty, and thus, my consort." Xiao Tian burst out laughing. "Does that mean I can do nothing and just live off you?" Empress Ziruoyan nodded slightly. "Yes." Hearing this, Xiao Tian quickly patted the side of the bed and said, "Then what are you waiting for? Let's get started." However, the Empress informed him, "As for marital matters, I cannot satisfy you at the moment. Regarding the summoning talisman's contract ring, I will find a way to free you from it." After saying this, the Empress left with her attendants. Seeing the woman leave, Xiao Tian looked at his hand. "Is this the contract ring she mentioned? Wearing this, I can't harm the summoner." Ha! Just then, a voice echoed, "Do you wish to activate the Supreme System?" Xiao Tian smirked. "Transmigration and a system? I can't believe I'm experiencing this. In that case, of course, I choose no." Since he was young, he was adopted by an assassin organization. To survive, he became stronger, engaging in countless, senseless killings, all for the so-called missions. The path of the Supreme Powerhouse? Xiao Tian was already tired of it. What in this world is more pleasing than being a carefree prince without worries? Seeing Xiao Tian's refusal, the system prepared to erase Xiao Tian's memories, and then detach from Xiao Tian to seek a new host. While sipping tea, Xiao Tian remained calm and undisturbed. The next second, the system showed an error. Memory erase failed, unable to detach. The system then tried to bind. Yet again, it showed binding failed. Then, let's try establishing ownership. Still a failure. Suddenly, the system blared, "Warning, the target is a high-dimensional earthling." Activating parasitic slave mode. Still a failure. The system continued to attempt. During these attempts, Xiao Tian was dumbfounded. What's going on? Does this system want to be my slave? After 9,999 failed attempts, the system could only ask Xiao Tian, "Could I become your auxiliary system, to be your slave?" Xiao Tian smiled. "So, the system wants to be my loyal follower now?" Once confirmed, the system requested Xiao Tian to give it a name. Without hesitation, Xiao Tian said, "Why don't you just be called Puppy then?" The system immediately expressed its liking for the name. However, it reminded Xiao Tian to quickly learn how to conceal his aura. Otherwise, he might unintentionally erase system and endanger other lives. Looking at a potted plant beside him that had been half erased, Xiao Tian exclaimed, "Is this caused by my aura? This won't do. I must suppress it." Following the techniques provided by the system, Xiao Tian quickly learned to conceal his aura. Afterward, he looked at the potted plant and asked the system, "Puppy, what's happening to me?" "Respected master," the system replied, "you come from a high-dimensional plane where you have long been suppressed by 490,000 rules. Now that you're in this lower dimensional plane, you're free from the suppression of heavenly rules, and your body is rapidly absorbing the energy between heaven and earth." After some thought, Xiao Tian inquired, "So, how many rules govern this world?" "Respected master, this world is bound by 3,000 rules," the system answered. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian spat out the water he was drinking. The water pierced through the wall. This feeling is indeed peculiar. Soon after, the system sent over Xiao Tian's status information. Xiao Tian, realm, none, traits, unknown, bloodline, earthling, potential after unlocking, unknown, can ignore any rule or law, has a suppressive ability over all beast-type creatures, and these abilities were only what could currently be detected. A moment later, Xiao Tian strolled around and arrived at a martial arts arena. Picking up a long knife, he easily snapped it with a slight bend. "This Empress really skimps on quality," Xiao Tian muttered. Puppy quickly interjected, "Respected master, spiritual weapons are graded in 9 tiers, each tier further categorized as high, mid, low, and extreme. That knife was a tier 6 extreme quality, which is considered top-notch in the Great Flame Dynasty." Hearing this, Xiao Tian grabbed another sword, which obviously looked of even higher quality. He tried to slash his palm with the blade. His hand was unharmed, but the sword cracked. Casually tossing the broken blade back, Xiao Tian gained a rough understanding of his capabilities. As for the weapons, he no longer wished wish to touch or partake in any violence. On the third morning, Xiao Tian woke up to find the Empress in his bed. Sensing Xiao Tian's movement, the Empress slowly opened her eyes. Startled, Xiao Tian exclaimed, "What happened last night? Am I tainted?" Seeing her puzzled expression, Xiao Tian reached out and gently patted her face, asking, "Did you, with me?" Upon hearing his words, the Empress finally snapped back to her senses. Clearing her throat and feigning an authoritative tone, she inquired, "How did you sleep last night?" Feeling embarrassed, Xiao Tian replied, "I slept quite well. Did I sleep in the wrong place?" The Empress shook her head and explained, "I slept here merely to silence the gossip. If we were to sleep separately on our wedding night, it would give rise to unnecessary rumors. In the future, I might occasionally stay here. I will assign some people to assist you. If you need anything, just ask." With that, the Empress prepared to leave, but just as she reached the door, she turned to say, "I'm sorry for summoning you here for my own benefit." Watching her leave, Xiao Tian reminisced about the warmth of the previous night and couldn't help but laugh out loud, thinking, "Truly a great Empress. The woman who supports me is indeed extraordinary. My wonderful days are about to begin." That night, inside the royal study, Empress Zeruoyan was reviewing reports when she exclaimed, "Has the situation in the north deteriorated to this extent?" A female general named Zhong Lishuang quickly explained, "The barbarians are acting more frequently. It seems there might be someone behind the scenes. According to our intelligence, the barbarian sage has left their royal court." Upon hearing this, the Empress slammed the report on the table, declaring, "I will lead the troops personally to cut off the hand that dares to stretch towards us. Relay my orders. In 3 days, General Zhong, you will accompany me as we march northward." Zhong Lishuang was overjoyed and responded, "Yes, Your Majesty." 3 days later, the Empress was mounted on a majestic horse, asking Zhong Lishuang beside her, "Is everything arranged properly?" Linger is secretly following him. "There won't be any problems. But Your Majesty, why are you so concerned about a man without any cultivation?" The Empress smiled lightly. "After marrying him, the fate of the Great Flame Dynasty has become more stable, and even my strength has improved. Now, let's set out." The soldiers immediately acknowledged her command and began their journey northward. Not far away, a proud figure looked at the departing army. It was Zhong Lishuang's daughter, Zhongling. She sighed deeply. "Mother is really something. Not only did she go to war with the Empress without taking me, but she even assigned me to secretly protect this useless prince. While the Empress goes to war for the Great Flame Dynasty, this guy goes to the mountains for his cravings. I really don't understand why the Empress would marry such a man." At that moment, a shadowy figure suddenly emerged and abducted Xiao Tian. Zhongling witnessed the scene but did not intervene, thinking to herself, "He's really asking for trouble. I wonder if that useless prince is scared now." Unbeknownst to her, Xiao Tian was happily munching on a leg of pork, remarking, "This tastes so good. Too bad, puppy, you can't taste it." Soon after, Xiao Tian was thrown in front of a group. A scar-faced man took one look at him and quickly asked, "Fourth brother, are you sure you got the right person? Can the Empress's husband really be such a simpleton?" Xiao Tian continued to enjoy his pork leg, seemingly unfazed by the situation. Zhongling, hiding in a tree, silently judged this useless prince. However, she realized that these people must be from the Blood Cloud Tower's Great Flame Dynasty branch. Thinking that it was best to retrieve Xiao Tian while they were distracted, she transformed into a shadowy figure and darted towards him, gesturing for him to grasp her hand. But just then, something unexpected happened. Zhongling instantly realized she had fallen into a trap. This is the 6th rank ceiling formation, the Soul Chain formation. Bound by the formation, Zhongling couldn't move. Scarface laughed heartily, "A prodigy who reached the 5th rank at the age of 16. It's nice to meet you. In this world, cultivation is divided into 10 ranks, each with 9 levels." As he spoke, Zhongling struggled to draw her sword to break the formation. Scarface chuckled, "Don't waste your energy. This formation specifically counters your break defense slash." Zhongling was taken aback. "Who are you? How do you know about it?" He smirked. "How do I know? How should I know?" Slowly, Scarface removed his mask, revealing a sinister face. Moments later, the duo was dragged into a cave. Furious, Zhongling shouted, "Liang Shou, so, you're still alive." Meanwhile, Xiao Tian nonchalantly wiped his hands and stood up. "Since we all know each other, we'll be on our way." Liang Shou grabbed Xiao Tian's shoulder. "Leaving? We're not done yet, pretty boy." Xiao Tian responded with indifference. "Is that so? Okay then." Impressed, Liang Shou commented, "You're indeed worthy of being the Empress's husband. You've got guts." Suddenly, he produced a cloth pouch. "Dissolve this in water and splash it onto the Empress's martial arts arena. Not only will it save your life, but also, hee." Without hesitation, Xiao Tian grabbed the pouch. "No problem." Liang Shou, slightly stunned by Xiao Tian's boldness, took out a small bottle. "Merely giving your word won't suffice. You also have to." Before he could finish, Xiao Tian swiftly took the bottle and downed its contents. This left Liang Shou utterly shocked. Are there still people who willingly seek death in this age? Wiping his mouth, Xiao Tian handed back the empty bottle. "Can I go now? If I take too long, it might arouse suspicion from the female guards. That wouldn't be conducive for carrying out your task." Liang Shou stared at the empty bottle, feeling uneasy. "What should I do next? This situation is way beyond what I expected." Xiao Tian was equally exasperated. frustrated. I've been so cooperative. Why won't he let me go? Witnessing the situation, Zhongling couldn't help but lash out in anger. Despicable. The Empress must be blind to have chosen a spineless man like you. Liang Shou, on the other hand, was hoping for a rift between the two. Idiot. Only those who understand the current situation are the real heroes. Do you really think everyone is as naive as you and your mother, unable to see the bigger picture? Of course. Zhongling was aware of the internal and external challenges facing the Great Flame Dynasty. Growing tired of their bickering, Xiao Tian pointed at Zhongling and asked, "Can I take her and leave now?" Liang Shou refused. "No, I have some scores to settle with her." "That won't work. We came out together. If she doesn't leave with me, I'm as good as dead." At this point, one of Liang Shou's subordinates shouted, "Shut up if you don't know how to talk." Seeing Xiao Tian's unyielding stance, the henchman angrily charged at him. Just as Xiao Tian's hair was being grabbed, Zhongling cried out in concern, "Xiao Tian." After all, the prince was just a regular person with no cultivation. How could he withstand such an attack? But to everyone's surprise, Xiao Tian, looking rather bored, merely yawned, leaving them all dumbstruck. How can he be so nonchalant? A second later, Xiao Tian's face changed. "Do you really have to be so handsy? I absolutely despise people touching my hair." With a swift punch, the assailant was instantly vaporized. Everyone present was in shock. That man was a fifth-rank expert. As the smoke cleared, there was now a large hole blasted through the cave. With a casual wave of his hand, Xiao Tian unleashed a torrent of fierce energy, vaporizing everyone it touched on the spot. Liang Shou was thrown to the ground by the residual force. Xiao Tian approached, his face expressionless, staring down at him. "All I wanted was to be a leisurely prince, to enjoy the simple days. Why wouldn't you let me be? Didn't I cooperate enough? Why did you force me to act?" Terrified, Liang Shou dropped to his knees, kowtowing repeatedly. But in the next moment, his form began to disintegrate, turning into ash bit by bit. After settling the matter, Xiao Tian turned to face Zhongling, who was already stunned by the scene before her. In a panic, she pleaded, "Prince, I realize my mistake. I promise it won't happen again." Before she could finish, Xiao Tian effortlessly shattered the formation with his hand. He then joked, "Are you an idiot? Stay here and don't move. I'll cover our tracks." With that, Xiao Tian vanished. Relieved, Zhongling thought to herself, "At least I'm still alive." But her relief was short-lived when she saw a mountain suddenly rise into the air in the distance. She tried to comfort herself, thinking, "At least it's not the prince coming back, just a hopping and jumping mountain." Wait, since when do mountains hop and jump? Taking a closer look, she was shocked to see that it was Xiao Tian holding the mountain. What kind of creature is he? She thought, stunned. Could the prince be a legendary being beyond the 10th rank? As Zhongling was lost in thought, the massive mountain crashed down, covering the entire cave behind her. No one would ever guess that there once was a cave beneath that mountain. Dusting off his hands, Xiao Tian grinned. Done. No traces of my actions left. Zhongling felt as if her soul had left her body. At that moment, all she could think of was how grateful she was to Prince Xiao Tian for showing her what it meant to leave no traces behind. As Xiao Tian turned to leave, he said, "Little girl, just say you saved me later." Zhongling wanted to say something in protest, but before she could, Xiao Tian turned back with a cold glare. "Didn't your mother ever tell you to listen carefully to your elders? Like a cat whose tail had been stepped on." Zhongling shivered. The next moment, she knelt and kowtowed. "I promise. I won't say a word out of place." Xiao Tian then helped her up, saying, "Let's go." Just then, the sound of footsteps emerged from the nearby jungle. The approaching party was the female soldiers from the Great Flame Dynasty. "Prince, General Zhong, are you both alright?" Xiao Tian yawned in response. Zhongling immediately caught on and informed the group, "The bandits have been taken care of by me. Rest assured." With a wave, Xiao Tian added, "Everyone's worked hard. Let's go back and continue our barbecue." The lead soldier, named Lu Yan, informed Xiao Tian, "Prince, bandits in this mountain. It might not be safe." Xiao Tian dismissed her concerns. "It's okay. This young lady took care of all the bandits." Upon hearing this, the female soldiers exchanged worried glances. The young general despises those who indulge in pleasure like Prince Xiao Tian, and now he's even calling her little girl. We should try to stop the general from hitting the prince later. To their surprise, Zhongling had no reaction and obediently followed Xiao Tian without a word. Seeing the soldiers still in shock, she turned and urged them, "What are you waiting for? Hurry up." Everyone was stunned, wondering when the young general had become so agreeable. Soon after, a bonfire was lit, and a pig was set up for roasting. Xiao Tian beckoned, "Little girl, do you have a knife?" Without hesitation, Zhongling handed over a short knife. Xiao Tian cut a piece of meat and tasted it, commenting on its tenderness and juiciness. All the while, Zhongling attentively stayed by his side with a smile. Several female soldiers behind the two were mentally collapsing. "It's over, it's over." The young general's mind must have broken. Not long after, Xiao Tian suddenly turned to Zhongling, "Little girl, those people who took me earlier, are they acquaintances of yours?" Zhongling's face immediately became serious. "Yes, the leader is named Liang Shou. He used to be the bandit leader of Smoke Wolf Stronghold. He was a challenge set by my mother before my coming-of-age ceremony. He was supposed to be publicly executed a year ago, but somehow became an assassin for Blood Cloud Tower." Hearing about the coming-of-age ceremony, Xiao Tian looked surprised. "How old are you?" Zhongling blushed slightly and looked looked down. I'm 16. 16? I must criticize your mother for this. You're so young, and she's having you do these things. Zhongling nodded obediently, not adding any more. The female soldiers nearby were discussing. Their goal this time by kidnapping the prince was the Empress. We don't know who's behind this. They failed this mission, but within 7 days, they'll surely send more people. Hearing this, Xiao Tian was taken aback. They'll come again in 7 days? One of the soldiers quickly suggested, Prince, why don't you temporarily stay in the palace? The palace's protective array is very powerful. The Blood Cloud Tower assassins wouldn't dare to break in. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian immediately decided, I'll stay in the palace. The soldiers were rendered speechless, wondering just how afraid of death the prince really was. However, Zhongling was pondering just how reluctant the prince was to get involved. After their barbecue on the mountain, Xiao Tian proposed a walk elsewhere to help digest their meal. As they walked further away, 2 imperial guards began whispering among themselves. Do you think the young general likes the pretty boy type? Why is she so patient with the prince? Don't gossip. We can't fathom the young general's thoughts. I understand, but with what's happening now, I wonder how many more commoners will suffer. Standing on the edge of a cliff, Xiao Tian looked into the distance. He then turned to Zhongling and asked, what were those imperial guards discussing earlier about the commoners suffering? What's that about? Zhongling glanced at the group of imperial guards with an expressionless face before explaining. With Blood Cloud Tower failing their mission this time, they might proceed as they usually do, slaughtering the commoners to force the Great Flame Dynasty to pay protection money. Xiao Tian looked puzzled. Protection money? What do you mean? She continued, in the past, some upright officials in the dynasty would interfere with the interests of powerful local families. These families would then place bounties on them through Blood Cloud Tower. The dynasty would protect these officials, and when the Blood Cloud Tower couldn't get to them, they'd slaughter the commoners to force the dynasty to yield. The dynasty would then have to pay protection money to the Blood Cloud Tower to get them to cancel their assignment. Now that their mission to capture you failed, they will certainly try again, and if they continue to fail, they'll resort to massacring the commoners for the protection money. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian was furious. He originally came from an assassin background, but he would never harm innocent civilians. He asked Zhongling, given what you know about our Empress, if she thinks my abilities are decent enough, would she ask me to take action? She probably would. Zhongling responded, looking taken aback. I think you might have a misconception about the word decent. Feeling frustrated, Xiao Tian thought about the dilemma he was facing. If he took action, he'd reveal his true strength, but if he didn't, the civilians would be slaughtered. This issue arose because of him. If Ziruoyan decides to dismiss him, his comfortable life of being provided for would be over. This was a terrifying thought. I must defeat every single member of the Blood Cloud Tower. Zhongling was speechless. Was the prince trying to eliminate the problem entirely since he couldn't find a solution to it? Then, Xiao Tian glanced around and, seeing no one nearby, suddenly wrapped an arm around Zhongling's slender waist. With a slight exertion of his feet, they shot into the sky with a booming sound. Zhongling was utterly shocked. The prince was able to fly so swiftly without using a hint of spiritual energy, relying only on his physical strength. But soon, she couldn't even think, her mouth emitting only hysterical screams. A system prompt quickly warned Xiao Tian that Zhongling's body was reaching a critical point and advised him to slow down. Shortly after, Xiao Tian stopped. We're here. Zhongling, looking at the empty space in front of her, asked with confusion, where are we? The next moment, Xiao Tian clenched his fist and slammed it into the space in front of them. An explosion of intense energy erupted, followed by the sound of shattering. A barrier was broken, revealing an island floating in the sky. Zhongling couldn't help but exclaim, it's a flying spiritual artifact. No wonder the Empress couldn't find it. It was in the sky. What do we do next? Do we sneak in? Xiao Tian smirked slightly. Sneak in? That's not possible. He then leaped high and burst directly through the entrance. The hall inside was immediately filled with the aura of the Blood Cloud Tower's entourage. Zhongling felt numb. The weakest here is at the 5th rank. A woman, with a seductive smile on her face, said, such a strange face is rare to see. Who are you? Why have you come to our Blood Cloud Tower? Before she could finish, a raging energy surged, engulfing the entire hall. Witnessing the scenes of blood splattering, Zhongling's eyes widened. The prince had truly shown through action the meaning of act rather than talk. At that moment, 3 more figures appeared in the hall. Who dares to act recklessly in front of the Empress? Zhongling couldn't help but shout. There are 2 silver assassins and a gold assassin here. The system puppy also provided information. Silver assassins are qualified only at the 7th rank, while gold assassins require a 100% mission completion rate. The gold assassin, rubbing his wrist, chuckled. Zhongling, the legitimate daughter of Zhongli Huang and the prince of the Great Flame Dynasty? Impressive. You seem quite capable. It seems you're forcing my hand. He instructed the 2 beside him. Don't kill him. The prince still has value to us. Send the head of the one named Zhongling to the northern front lines. I imagine Zhongli Huang will go mad. It'll be beneficial for our war strategy. Listening to his arrogant words, Zhongling could only grit her teeth. Xiao Tian smiled slightly. Such detailed intelligence. You have insiders in the Great Flame Dynasty, don't you? Your ambitions seem quite large. The gold assassin pulled out a dagger. Our headquarters has had its eye eyes on the Great Flame Dynasty for a while now. Come on, let me see just how useless this prince really is. Before he could finish, the gold assassin's face froze. Xiao Tian had made his move, or more accurately, exerted his power. The entire Blood Cloud Tower division was enveloped in his imposing presence. The three assassins felt dizzy and overwhelmed, and even Zhongling couldn't hold on. The gold assassin fell to his knees. Sir, perhaps there has been a misunderstanding. I only wanted to live a peaceful, righteous life. Yet you sent people to bother me. Aren't you just forcing me to destroy your headquarters? As he spoke, Xiao Tian clenched his fist and threw a punch, blasting a hole through the main hall. Seeing the massive hole in the hall, the two silver assassins silently cursed their intelligence department. You call this monster useless? Xiao Tian didn't even bother dealing with the remaining two. He simply withdrew his overwhelming aura and then helped the stunned Zhongling to her feet. Staring blankly, Zhongling asked Xiao Tian, "Are you still going to their headquarters?" "Yes, it's necessary to remove this malignant tumor." Following that, with a punch, he smashed open a wall revealing a stash of gold and silver treasures that the Blood Cloud Tower had hoarded. He instructed the system puppy to gather all of it, commenting, "After all the harm they've done to me, asking for some compensation for mental damages isn't too much, is it?" Zhongling was in shock and replied, "Not at all. Who would dare say you're overstepping?" Once finished, Xiao Tian suddenly crushed a stone talisman and transformed its formation, offering it to Zhongling. She recognized it and exclaimed, "This is the Mountain Guardian Talisman? Prince, you shouldn't. This 7th level defensive talisman is too precious." Xiao Tian explained, "The Blood Cloud Tower headquarters is quite far. I need to travel fast to get there before dinner, and I'm concerned about your safety. With this talisman, there shouldn't be a problem." Before Zhongling could process this, Xiao Tian had already hoisted her onto his shoulder. He shot up into the sky. Once again, the air was filled with Zhongling's screams. She hadn't expected Xiao Tian's speed to be so intense that even the 7th level defensive talisman was struggling to handle it. Shortly after, they arrived at the Blood Cloud Tower headquarters. As Xiao Tian landed, the protective formation of the Blood Cloud Tower shattered like an eggshell. He remarked, as expected of the top assassin organization, "The scent of blood here is thick." Moments later, a group of people surrounded them, shouting, "How audacious! How dare you intrude into the Blood Cloud Tower?" Then, a man and a woman slowly approached. The man smirked. "Seems there's no shortage of people seeking death these days." Zhongling recognized the powerful aura of the two gold assassins, but was soon distracted by a voice from the rooftop. "I had wondered who would suddenly visit, but never expected the prince of the Great Flame Dynasty and General Zhong." Finishing his statement, the figure jumped down, and upon landing, everyone immediately knelt and proclaimed, "Greetings, Tower Master." Zhongling whispered to Xiao Tian, "That's the Tower Master of the Blood Cloud Tower, the King of Assassins in the Southern Wilderness, Unbeatable." Xiao Tian nonchalantly inquired, "Is the Blood Cloud Tower particularly interested in the Great Flame Dynasty?" Unbeatable responded with a slight smile, "Yes, but I am more interested in you right now. The useless prince mentioned in our intelligence has come knocking so quickly. Perhaps you're closer to the secret of the Great Flame Dynasty. Men, seize him, but be gentle, don't harm him." Unexpectedly, the burly man from earlier motioned for everyone to hold back. "Wait, let me have some fun with him first." Facing the provocation, Xiao Tian was deep in thought, considering the over 100 people present. When it's time to act, I must not let any of them escape to avoid information leak. Seeing Xiao Tian's silence, Wang Gang stepped forward to taunt him further. "Look at this pretty boy. Seems like the Empress of the Great Flame Dynasty has a thing for young, pretty faces. What do you think? Will he cry if I land a punch on him?" Several subordinates laughed uproariously. However, Xiao Tian, with a defiant face, pointed to his own head and challenged, "Come on, aim here." Everyone present was stunned by his audacity. He continued, "What's the matter? Afraid? Chicken?" Wang Gang, enraged, retorted, "Who are you calling chicken?" With that, he delivered a fierce punch straight to Xiao Tian's face. A loud thud echoed, leaving two of the underlings and even the Tower Master Yunzunlai looking worried, fearing that Huang Gang might have killed Xiao Tian with that single punch. However, as the dust settled, they discovered that Huang Gang's punch had been blocked, and to everyone's astonishment, Xiao Tian had stopped the powerful blow using just one finger. Xiao Tian quipped, "Didn't you have your breakfast? Can you put in some effort, please?" Huang Gang was infuriated. He gathered all his strength and threw another punch, but the result remained the same. Xiao Tian blocked it effortlessly with just a single finger. Waving his finger dismissively, Xiao Tian taunted, "Come on, what's this? Give it some effort." Blinded by rage, Huang Gang swung wildly, punch after punch. In desperation, he even burned his essence blood, concentrating its power in his fist. With a thunderous crash, he threw his most powerful punch yet. A golden aura enveloped Xiao Tian, and to everyone's shock, Huang Gang was sent flying, embedding him into a distant wall. His body was tattered, and blood dripped from his wounds. With a stern face, Xiao Tian mockingly said, "That's an interesting technique. Almost got yourself killed there." Hearing this, tears streamed down Huang Gang's face. He angrily shouted, "Those damn fools in the intelligence department, are they all brainless? What kind of rubbish information did they gather?" Watching the tears in Huang Gang's eyes, Xiao Tian was somewhat speechless. "Don't they think things through? If I could find this place, What did they think it implied? Puppy then explained that because Xiao Tian's body was still strengthening and couldn't cultivate, he was perceived as a regular person with no realm, leading to these misjudgments. Just then, other islands belonging to Blood Cloud Tower emerged. Xiao Tian thought, it's time to take action. In an instant, multiple attacks targeted the newly appeared islands. Before they could even stabilize, they were blasted into nothingness. The scene left everyone present stunned. Is this even human? Immediately, everyone began deploying their magical concealment techniques. They believed that by splitting up and fleeing, they might have a chance to escape. Huang Gang, though injured, was determined that if even one of them could escape, they needed to spread the news about this monstrous being. He refused to believe that among the dozens of assassins present, not a single one could get away. With a cold expression, Xiao Tian remained silent. He instantly appeared in front of one person, pushing him away with a palm strike. Then, in a blink, he was behind another, swiftly taking him down. A series of rapid explosions ensued. Left in utter disbelief, Huang Gang was paralyzed in shock, thinking, how is this possible? The woman who was previously by Yun Zunlai's side now approached Xiao Tian. Your excellency is truly unparalleled in might. Could you spare me so I can serve you? Zhongling, observing from a distance, recognized the woman as Yu Yan, who was especially adept at seducing her targets. Once they were completely entranced by her, she would turn on them, eating their hearts. Could Xiao Tian resist such temptation? As Zhongling pondered, she was shocked by what she witnessed next. Xiao Tian, furious, reprimanded Yu Yan. Such a wicked mind you have. Yu Yan, taken aback, asked, my lord, what are you talking about? Xiao Tian replied, you offering your service is one thing, but how would the Empress view me? If she misunderstands and thinks I've been disloyal, what will become of my laid-back prince life? Labeling her intentions as malicious, Xiao Tian struck her down. To her last breath, Yu Yan didn't understand her absurd demise, managing to curse, you idiot. Only Yun Zunlai remained, hiding under the bed, hoping that the treasure vault upstairs would divert Xiao Tian's attention. He had thought Xiao Tian was the secret of the Great Flame Dynasty, as all intelligence had pegged him as an ordinary man, not this invincible force. The floating islands, which Yun Zunlai had chanced upon in his younger days, were sturdy enough to withstand even a tier 10 force, but Xiao Tian destroyed them with ease. From the texts inside the relics where Yun Zunlai had found these treasures, they belonged to the ancient Great Flame Dynasty. Hence, every faction was eyeing the dynasty, especially secrets from that long-lost era. Feeling a sudden quiet outside, Yun Zunlai sighed in relief, thinking Xiao Tian had left. But in the next moment, Xiao Tian appeared before him, waving in greeting. Stunned, Yun Zunlai blurted out an expletive. Amused, Xiao Tian said, what are you, a child, hiding under a bed? Just as Xiao Tian reached to grab him, Yun Zunlai used a secret technique to transform into smoke and flee. Upon escaping the floating island, he detonated it, thinking, now, let's see how you get out. But to his dismay, Xiao Tian soon appeared, grabbing him by the neck. Where do you think you're going? Xiao Tian, holding Yun Zunlai like a small chicken, brought him back to the floating island. With a bewildered expression, Yun Zunlai knelt on the ground. The scene was almost comical. This powerful individual was found hiding under a bed. Zhongling was completely flabbergasted by the turn of events. It felt so surreal. If she hadn't witnessed it herself, who would believe that the renowned assassin king of the southern wilderness was defeated so easily? Yun Zunlai was equally baffled. I had concealed my aura, held my breath, and even stopped my heartbeat. How did you find me? Xiao Tian replied with a smile. Simple. I heard the sound of your blood flowing. Both of them were stunned. Before Yun Zunlai could recover, Xiao Tian questioned him about his interest in the Great Flame Dynasty. Sweating profusely, Yun Zunlai bargained, if you spare my life, I'll provide you with the information. Without waiting for a response, Xiao Tian swiftly snapped Yun Zunlai's neck. Never mind. No need to ask anymore. Zhongling stared at Yun Zunlai's lifeless body. This prince is terrifying. I want to go home. Soon after, a stone tablet descended from the sky, landing in a lake. Inscribed on it were the bold words, acting on heaven's behalf, King of Hell. Xiao Tian, with Zhongling in tow, gracefully landed beside the stone tablet. Feeling pleased after resolving the issue, he cheerfully suggested, let's go home and have a meal. Curiously, Zhongling asked about the name King of Hell. It's just a moniker I used back home, Xiao Tian replied nonchalantly. There's a saying there, the King of Hell claims souls at the third watch of the night. Who dares to keep them till the fifth? Oh, and by the way, don't talk recklessly when we return, okay? Startled, Zhongling nodded hastily. Seeing her obedient response, Xiao Tian affectionately ruffled her hair, saying, little ones should listen to adults. Blushing, Zhongling tidied her hair and retorted, I'm not that young, you know. Without looking back, Xiao Tian dismissed her comment with a wave of his hand. Okay, you're very grown up. Hearing this, Zhongling became even more embarrassed. A moment later, the duo returned to where the Imperial Guard was stationed. Xiao Tian, pretending to be relieved, patted his chest and exclaimed, I found it. That was close. It's the token of love given to me by the Emperor. Zhongling was speechless, thinking, typical prince, lying without batting an eyelid. Shortly after, the group lined up, and Xiao Tian loudly announced, all right, let's head home. The head of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, looked displeased. This prince is so frivolous. We don't even know if the scum from the Blood Cloud Tower have left yet. Young general, you were reckless palace just now. This isn't like you. Why did you indulge the prince's whims today? Zhongling, facing Lu Yan, someone who had watched her grow up, could only smile and remain silent. Suddenly, she seemed to recall something and asked, Sister Lu, did you think of him because of our encounter with the Blood Cloud Tower assassins? Lu Yan looked down, not responding, but her face showed clear anguish. Zhongling sighed deeply. If it weren't for your fiancé holding back the assassins from the Blood Cloud Tower all by himself, that village would have been completely wiped out. She had heard her mother recount how, when Lu Yan led the rescue party, they found a blood-covered man at the entrance of the village who had seemingly passed on, but still stood firm. Even the emperor once said he was the backbone of the Great Flame. By the time Zhongling finished her story, tears streamed down Lu Yan's face. It's in the past. Let's not talk about it, she murmured. Ahead, Xiao Tian suddenly smiled. One of the imperial guards curiously asked, Prince, did something good happen? Xiao Tian turned his head. Not really. I just felt that I did something meaningful earlier. So, rest in peace. One day, as Zhongling was getting ready to leave the house in a hurry, her father, Zhong Yangming, couldn't help but ask where she was headed. She candidly replied, I'm going to the palace to take care of Prince Xiao Tian. Zhong Yangming looked puzzled. That prince is known for his indulgence and idleness. Besides, he has the imperial guard to protect him in the palace. Why are you so concerned about him? To his surprise, Zhongling seemed rather upset. You've never spent time with Prince Xiao Tian. How can you judge him without knowing him? Without another word, she left, leaving Zhong Yangming completely baffled. Just yesterday, she seemed to dislike the prince. What changed overnight? This doesn't bode well. At this very moment, Prince Xiao Tian was leisurely enjoying his afternoon. Not only did he have maidens feeding him fruits, but he also used a system to watch Ultraman fight monsters. Such a life of luxury was more than just delightful. Unfortunately, the head of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, didn't appreciate this sight. The emperor is on the front line battling, and yet her prince indulges in such pleasures? It's infuriating. Just then, young General Zhongling arrived, but she looked different from what Lu Yan remembered. Zhongling, with her blushing face and a brilliant red dress, looked more radiant than ever. Xiao Tian was taken aback. Little girl, what are you doing here? With a serious expression, Zhongling responded, I'm here to protect Prince. Waving his hands in refusal, Xiao Tian retorted, go where you please. Who asked you to guard anything? What if you accidentally reveal my secret? The room fell silent. Everyone looked at Xiao Tian, thinking, is the prince courting death? With young general's temperament, who will be able to stop her later? Unexpectedly, Zhongling, with her face flushed, firmly said, I won't leave. I will stay right here. This is the emperor's order, she added. The imperial guards behind her looked at her in disbelief. Is young general out of her mind? Come to think of it, Prince Xiao Tian is indeed handsome. Not only did he bewitch the emperor, but now even young general seems to have fallen for him. Just then, someone reported from the doorway that a floating island bearing the insignia of Blood Cloud Tower had fallen from the sky. Could it be the main headquarters of Blood Cloud Tower that the emperor has been desperately searching for? Zhongling rushed over to inquire, what happened? Lu Yan's face was aghast. Young general, one of the branch towers of Blood Cloud Tower has been destroyed. Zhongling responded nonchalantly, I see. What else? Seeing her so unconcerned, Lu Yan was at a loss for words. Isn't this significant? Young general, aren't you even a little surprised? Realizing she might have appeared too calm, Zhongling awkwardly replied with a chuckle, the destruction of a Blood Cloud Tower branch is good news. Xiao Tian watched this exchange and thought to himself, she's overdoing it. That act might give her away any moment now. Lu Yan, with a serious expression, remarked, under normal circumstances, it would indeed be good news. But now that one of Blood Cloud Tower's branches was destroyed within the Great Flame Dynasty, what if their main force decides to attack us? Moreover, what if their leader, known as the King of Assassins, causes trouble for the Emperor in the northern border? Xiao Tian and Zhongling had to stifle their laughter. Is she talking about that King of Assassins who hides under the bed? Lu Yan was flabbergasted. Young general is laughing? Shouldn't she be more concerned? Unable to contain her curiosity, she asked Zhongling, young general, why are you laughing? In such a critical time, have you lost your sense of duty? Realizing her lapse, and noticing the disapproving looks from both of them, Zhongling began to stutter, struggling for an explanation. Just then, Xiao Tian stepped in, tapping her lightly on the head. I heard everything. The nation is in crisis, and you're laughing and joking? What kind of behavior is that? Relieved, Zhongling thought. That was close. Almost gave everything away. Xiao Tian then addressed Lu Yan. Commander Lu, she's still young and doesn't understand the gravity of the situation. Please don't hold it against her. Moreover, the Great Flame Dynasty is in its prime. Don't worry too much. Now, you can get back to your duties. I'll make sure to teach this little one a lesson. Subsequently, Xiao Tian took Zhongling away, leaving a group of Imperial Guards discussing amongst themselves. Commander, if I recall correctly, you watched the young general grow up, didn't you? Why does it seem like you're the outsider now? They've only known each other for less than 2 days. Lu Yan replied gravely, it seems the situation is more serious than I thought. Quickly, write a letter to the general and inform Minister Zhong as well. That morning, Zhongling almost gave herself away and was reprimanded by Xiao Tian. However, in a surprising move, she suddenly knelt before him, asking him to take her as his disciple. Unfortunately, Xiao Tian's power wasn't cultivated traditionally, and he couldn't teach her his abilities. Time passed leisurely. Half a month later, Xiao Tian was once again roasting wild boar on a mountain with Zhongling by his side. Suddenly, an imperial guard rushed towards them, excitedly announcing to Liu Yan, "Commander, the latest news from Astral Pavilion is that Blood Cloud Tower has been destroyed. All their powerful members were executed, and we have their bodies as evidence." Liu Yan was in shock. For the past half-month, she'd been worried about an attack from Blood Cloud Tower, and now she's being told they're gone? Tears filled her eyes, realizing someone had avenged her fiancé. Beside her, Zhongling also thanked Xiao Tian sincerely. However, chewing on his wild boar meat, Xiao Tian replied, "It has nothing to do with me. If you have nothing to do, help me cut the meat." Zhongling murmured something about him being uninteresting, but still obediently took up a knife to assist. Elsewhere, at the northern border, Empress was chatting with General Zhongli Huang. "That old man is really stubborn. The last time I injured him with my sword energy. If he comes again, I'll finish him off." Zhongli Huang affirmed, "Of course, your majesty is unparalleled in the world. A mere old man is no match for you." Just then, a soldier presented 2 letters. These were from Liu Yan and Zhong Yanming, sent half a month ago. As Zhongli Huang opened the letters, she was taken aback. The Blood Cloud Tower's branch had been destroyed within the Great Flame Dynasty. Empress immediately looked concerned. This isn't good. The main headquarters of the Blood Cloud Tower might take action. But in the next second, Zhongli Huang's face turned furious. Empress took the other letter and read, "Zhongling is infatuated with the prince's looks and dresses up meticulously every day to accompany him." Empress knew that Xiao Tian was indeed handsome, but no matter how handsome, this shouldn't happen, right? Zhongli Huang, in his anger, slammed a fist into the stone pillar in front of him. "That damn girl. If I don't spank her so hard that she blossoms when I get back, then I'm not her mother." But suddenly, a loud noise came from afar. Zhongli Huang was puzzled. Did his punch really have such power? Everyone looked up to see that the southern barbarians were launching another attack. An old man wearing a mask led the charge, proclaiming, "With my power, I transform into divine light. Let my soldiers march straight into enemy territory." As soon as he finished speaking, a horde of barbarian soldiers roared and charged forward. Zhongli Huang quickly told the Empress, "Your Majesty, leave the defense of the city to me. You should deal with that old man." Without hesitation, Empress approached the barbarian elder and shouted, "Jiasu, do you truly wish for death?" The elder replied, "I'm merely trying to secure a future for our barbarian kingdom. I won't die until I succeed." Empress swiftly thrust her sword at the elder, proclaiming, "The future of the barbarian kingdom will be ruined by your hands." The elder struggled to defend himself and was clearly outmatched. He spat out a mouthful of blood. Seeing this, Empress confidently said, "You shouldn't have left the barbarian kingdom. Without the protection of the nation's grand formation, you're no match for me." But to her surprise, the elder suddenly smirked, truly worthy of being the Great Flame Empress, unmatched in grace and power. Just then, something unexpected happened. A formation began to emerge between them. From the elder's palms, a blood-red power continuously emanated, and in an instant, the formation surrounded the Empress. "Is this a sealing formation?" Empress questioned. "So you spat out blood earlier to inscribe this formation in the air?" The elder's face lit up with satisfaction. "Exactly. With me anchoring this formation, it will trap you for at least several days. Black Soul Hall has paid a handsome sum to hold you back. By now, the poisonous marsh elder from Black Soul Hall must have entered the Great Flame region. What a pity for the innocent citizens of the Great Flame Imperial City." Empress's aura exploded with rage. "Jiasu, if the lives in Great Flame are lost, I will make your entire barbarian kingdom pay for it." On the ground, Zhongli Huang was fighting valiantly, attempting to rush towards Empress. However, Empress suddenly shouted, "Don't come closer. Defend the border at all costs and prevent the barbarians from breaking through." At this moment, Empress was seated, pondering, "I don't understand. Is it worth it for you? By using this blood-burning sealing spirit formation, you won't have the chance to progress further in your cultivation. It's absolutely worth it." The elder responded, "The waters of the Great Flame Dynasty run too deep. Our barbarian kingdom just wants to keep our distance. The reward we received is our capital to do so." Hearing this, Empress took a deep breath. The vengeance from Blood Cloud Tower's headquarters and the threat of Black Soul Hall were indeed disturbing. However, she needed to stay calm, think clearly, and find a way out to aid the Imperial City. The elder remarked, slightly surprised, "Indeed worthy of being the Empress. You managed to calm down and strategize so quickly. It's a pity for the innocent citizens, but I have no choice. Everything I do is for the barbarian kingdom." Elsewhere, atop the ruins of Blood Cloud Tower, a teleportation array was activated. A young man said to the elderly man next to him, "Master, do you think this was done by the Great Flame Dynasty?" "No, they lack the capability. Let's go." With Empress held back by our old friend, this is our golden opportunity. We head to Green Flame Mountain. Unbeknownst to them, Xiao Tian was already there, living a relaxed and luxurious life. That day, as Xiao Tian was barbecuing on the mountain, he consumed an entire wild boar. Zhongling and the group of Imperial guards watched in amazement. He can eat so much. They didn't know that due to Xiao Tian's immense power, he needed to eat continuously to maintain his energy levels. Thankfully, Empress was providing for him. Otherwise, he would have been so broke that he'd resort to eating dirt. At that moment, Xiao Tian suddenly realized that the leader of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, was missing. Zhongling quickly explained. She went to Green Flame Town to get wine. Green Flame Town? Isn't that the town where her fiancé defended to his death? I believe she wants to convey the good news of Blood Cloud Tower's destruction to her deceased fiancé. After a moment of thought, he said, let's go there together. We can take a look around Green Flame Town. Zhongling expressed her concern. What if Lu Yan returns and we miss each other? Pointing to the group of Imperial Guards, Xiao Tian replied, it's simple. You all stay here. If you don't see us within half an hour, pack up and head back to the palace. The Imperial Guards wanted to object, but Xiao Tian cut them off. Don't worry. With Zhongling by my side, everything will be alright. Elsewhere, at the entrance of Green Flame Town, a statue had been activated, forming a protective barrier around the town. The leader of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, was violently thrown against the statue by someone. Struggling to her feet, she fixed a fierce gaze on the two individuals standing before her. The two cloaked figures spoke with disdain. We've long heard that the Imperial Guards of the Great Flame Dynasty are seasoned warriors who have been through countless battles, but from what we see now, they seem rather unimpressive. The two individuals were none other than Poisonous Marsh Elder from Black Soul Hall and his disciple. Lu Yan instantly understood the situation. Black Soul Hall had collaborated with Barbarian Kingdom to force Empress into a direct confrontation, and then they would take advantage of her absence to slaughter the people of Great Flame. The Poisonous Marsh Elder was named Xian Yuanbai, while his disciple was called Guan Mao. Xian Yuanbai instructed his disciple, dispose of her quickly. We'll use the people of Green Flame Town for a blood sacrifice, and we mustn't alert anyone else. Rest assured, Master, I will ensure she departs comfortably. Guan Mao replied confidently. With a swift motion, he drew a long sword and lunged directly at Lu Yan, aiming for her throat. In a desperate move, Lu Yan quickly drew her sword to block, but she was still struck on the shoulder. Guan Mao took advantage of the situation and lifted his leg, kicking Lu Yan with great force. She flew back, slamming hard into the statue, blood filling her mouth. Guan Mao stepped forward, raising his hand to deliver the final blow. Lu Yan could only helplessly close her eyes, silently thinking of her late husband, reassuring herself that as his wife, she had not shamed him. Fortunately, at that moment, Xiao Tian arrived. He flicked a stone towards Guan Mao, who sensed the danger and tried to retreat. However, the force from the stone still sent him flying a good distance away. Lu Yan, eyes still closed, wondered why the fatal strike hadn't come yet. To her surprise, she heard a voice beside her. What do you intend to do with the head of my Imperial Guard? Stunned, Lu Yan murmured, Prince. Xiao Tian looked furious. Young lady, slice him up. Zhongling unsheathed her sword and stepped forward. Leave it to me. Without hesitation, she swung her sword directly at Guan Mao, who barely managed to raise his hand to block her attack. As Lu Yan observed the situation, she wondered how she had mistakenly thought that it was the prince who saved her. It should have been the young general. When Xiao Tian called out to her and got no response, he directly reached out, pinching her chin. From a system, he took out a pill and shoved it into Lu Yan's mouth, ordering, swallow the pill. Lu Yan covered her mouth, thinking that the prince wasn't as annoying as she had initially thought. She then stood up, urging Xiao Tian, Prince, have the young general take you away quickly. That Poisonous Marsh Elder is a 7th tier expert. You'll be in grave danger. Xiao Tian consulted his system, asking, Puppy, is this old guy really that strong? The system replied, Target is at the 7th tier, 8-fold peak, and is proficient in poison techniques. Confused, Xiao Tian remarked, but in my perception, all three of them seem nearly the same strength. How is that possible? The system explained, to you, their strength is inconsequential. In front of you, they are just frail and pitiable beings. Hearing this, Xiao Tian became slightly concerned. With Zhongling only at the 5th tier, she definitely couldn't win. What to do? Lu Yan observed from the side. If she discovered my abilities and told the Empress would undoubtedly seek my assistance. If I were to decline, I would certainly face punishment. Seeing Xiao Tian lost in thought, Lu Yan comforted, Prince, there's no need to worry. I'll protect you, even if it costs me my life. Xiao Tian laughed. You just took a pill to heal, and now you're eager to sacrifice yourself? What for? Before Lu Yan could reply, she noticed that her arm was healed. She thought, this must be a life-saving pill the Empress gave to the prince. It seemed the prince wasn't so useless after all. Realizing the situation, Lu Yan told Xiao Tian, Prince, the young general cannot be harmed in a place like this. I will help you buy some time to escape. The royal city has protective formations. Even the Poisonous Marsh Elder cannot break through. As long as we wait for the Empress to return, she will surely avenge us. At that moment, Zhongling suddenly unleashed her sword intent prototype. Sparks ignite the plains. Once this sword intent prototype is formed, it means invincibility at the same level. Guan Mao found it hard to accept. She's younger than me. I can accept her being of a higher realm, but she has understood the sword intent prototype. Why? Why is this? As he spoke, he thrust his sword at Zhongling, but Zhongling clearly saw that Guan Mao's sword technique was messy. With one swing of her sword, a radiant arc of light struck Guan Mao directly. He immediately lost his resistance and knelt on the ground. Zhongling approached him slowly and taunted. Someone of your caliber dares to run wild in great flame? Surrender your life. As she raised her hand to deliver the final blow, a small portal suddenly opened in front of her. Several venomous snakes lunged out with their mouths wide open, aiming for Zhongling. She hastily dropped her sword and retreated, narrowly avoiding their bites. The sword clattered to the ground, emitting wisps of green smoke, a clear sign of deadly poison. If her reaction had been even a tad slower, her hand might have been lost. Gu Hongmao returned to the side of the poisonous marsh elder. There's always someone better. Do you see it now? Gu Hongmao bowed slightly, replying, I see it now, master. The poisonous marsh elder then turned his gaze to Zhongling. Little girl, you're quite brave, daring not to flee in my presence. As for this great flame prince, although he's a weakling, he does have a handsome face. No wonder the Empress chose him as her consort. Zhongling, with a hint of schadenfreude, commented, this pitiful fellow, even facing death, continues to babble. You all have no idea how terrifying the prince truly is. However, when she turned around, she was shocked to see Xiao Tian casually drinking wine. Xiao Tian then feigned a cowardly demeanor and pleaded, poisonous marsh elder, I've long heard of your renowned reputation. I'm well aware today doesn't bode well for me. So, I would like to offer a secret of the Empress in exchange for my life. Hearing this, the leader of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, looked at him incredulously. Prince, you. Only Zhongling was aware of Xiao Tian's penchant for mischief. She thought, it seems like Sister Lu really believed him. I must reassure her, or she might get hurt by Prince's antics. Approaching Lu Yan, Zhongling grabbed her wrist and whispered, Sister Lu, the prince has his own considerations. Do not act rashly. There are certain things I can't tell you now. Lu Yan was bewildered, thinking, when did the young general become so irrational? The poisonous marsh elder watched the scene unfold, finding it amusing. The Empress's secret? I can agree to that. Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian continued, then, allow the two of them to leave first. This way, even if you decide to kill me, at least the two of them will survive. Lu Yan was taken aback, overwhelmed by emotions. He's trying to save us first. How can I agree to this? Prince, Lu Yan interjected, why don't you tell me the secret and I'll stay behind on your behalf? Xiao Tian cut her off sharply. Nonsense. Do you think the elder here is not sharp-witted? I'm afraid of death and would spill the secret if left behind. You're not afraid, but what use are you if you stay behind? Why can't this brainless person just stick to the script? How am I supposed to make my move if you don't leave? At this moment, the poisonous marsh elder spoke. It's not up to you here. You have no choice. The only option in front of you is to spill everything you know. If I'm pleased with what I hear, I might just spare your life. Zhongling felt a headache coming on, thinking, this old geezer must be tired of living. Lu Yan, angered, shouted, Xiao Yuan Bai, do not push us too far. Suddenly, Xiao Tian burst out laughing. You really leave me speechless. With that, Xiao Tian unleashed a surge of power, causing the surrounding space to warp. Sensing this horrifying energy, the poisonous marsh elder began to stutter, unable to form words. Xiao Tian's aura grew increasingly fierce, causing the ground to crack. Even nearby mountains began to tremble and shake. The poisonous marsh elder, in his fear, fell to the ground, staring in terror as Xiao Tian approached step by step. Each step he took echoed with a deafening boom. From his elevated position, Xiao Tian looked down at the elder and said, I truly don't understand. Why won't people like you ever listen to reason? I really didn't want to reveal my true power. All I wanted was to divert this Imperial Guard commander. Is that too much to ask? Having said that, Xiao Tian sighed deeply and, in the next moment, slapped the poisonous marsh elder across the face. I'm talking to you. Answer me. The poisonous marsh elder trembled uncontrollably, managing to stutter. Elder. It was a misunderstanding. Another slap rang out. What elder? I'm barely in my 20s. Can't you speak properly? I'm sorry, sir. Speak up. I can't hear you. Listening to their conversation and the repeated slaps, both Zhongling and Lu Yan were in shock. The poisonous marsh elder seemed to have lost his mind, suddenly shouting loudly, Sir. Xiao Tian landed several more slaps, yelling, Why are you screaming so loudly? You scared me, you know? Lu Yan, dumbfounded, asked, Young general, what on earth is happening? Am I dreaming? As you can see, Prince is invincible, so you must never tell the emperor. Otherwise, you'll be ungrateful, Zhongling explained. Only then did Lu Yan realize that the drastic change in Zhongling's attitude, obeying every command from the prince, was because the prince was so fearsome. Suddenly, a thought struck Lu Yan. Young general, the Blood Cloud Tower. Did he? Exactly. The one who obliterated the powerhouses of the Blood Cloud Tower was none other than the prince himself. Zhongling confirmed. Lu Yan felt like everything that had happened today had turned her world upside down. Looking at Xiao Tian's silhouette, her eyes were filled with admiration. Suddenly, she noticed something amiss. A dark formation started to appear beneath the poisonous marsh elder. Lu Yan shouted urgently, Prince, get out of the way. With a sinister smile on his face, the poisonous marsh elder declared, Too late. An eerie purple marsh suddenly formed right under Xiao Tian's feet. The elder jumped back. How about that? This is my lifespan burning dark swamp, crafted by burning 30 years of my life. Relish it. As it engulfs you, your skin will start to rot, your flesh will corrode, and your bones will become as brittle as charcoal, easily crushed. The more you struggle, the deeper you'll sink, and the faster the poison will seep into your body. Regardless of how powerful you might be. You've still fallen into my trap. Even a 10th level being cannot escape the poison from this swamp. On the side, Lu Yan was frantic. Young general, save him quickly. Zhongling, however, was calm. There's no need. All we have to do is stay out of the way. You're underestimating the prince. He's not just strong, he's insanely strong. Lu Yan fell silent at that, but soon, her jaw dropped in shock, and she wasn't the only one. Everyone present, except for Zhongling, was utterly astonished by what they were witnessing. It was beyond comprehension. The elder had sacrificed 30 years of his life to summon the deadly swamp that could corrode both the body and soul. Yet, Xiao Tian seemed unfazed after being submerged in it, even going as far as to give the poisonous marsh elder a thumbs up. Nice move. It's like a natural exfoliation. But seriously, is this thing supposed to be this powerful? After saying that, he set his sights on the poisonous marsh elder's disciple, Gu Hongmao, who immediately fell on his backside, begging Xiao Tian to stay away. Without hesitation, Xiao Tian grabbed him by the collar and threw him into the swamp. Gu Hongmao screamed in agony, and in a matter of moments, sank and ceased to breathe. As Xiao Tian curiously played with the poisonous liquid, the poisonous marsh elder was utterly flabbergasted. Who are you? Ignoring the question, Xiao Tian applied the liquid as if it was a face mask. The elder trembled in fear, lost for words. After a while, Xiao Tian removed the mask and turned to Zhongling. Little girl, how is it? Do I look fairer? Zhongling was speechless. Since when did Prince become so vain? Shrugging, Xiao Tian responded, you know nothing, kid. I need to look more handsome to charm the Empress. He then faced the poisonous marsh elder. May I ask, how much lifespan do you have left? The elder was horrified. What do you mean? Oh, nothing really. I just think your swamp is quite impressive. How many more times can you use it? If I gave you a pill to extend your life, could you keep providing skincare for me? The elder was a mix of embarrassment and fury. You're a beast. One might kill a man, but not insult him. This old man. With that, the poisonous marsh elder smacked his own forehead with his palm, ending his own life on the spot. Zhongling and Lu Yan were utterly stunned. One of the 6 evil kings of the Black Soul Hall was actually driven to suicide by the prince. Xiao Tian, however, looked genuinely puzzled and asked, why did he kill himself? I was being so sincere and even wanted to spare him. Both of them couldn't help but internally comment, Prince, please be more humane. Zhongling then advised Xiao Tian, Prince, you should consider how to cover up this mess. Looking at the massive rift in the ground, Xiao Tian remarked, this is quite a disturbance. If I'm not mistaken, continuing in this direction would lead us to the Great Flame Dynasty, right? As Zhongling was nodding, Xiao Tian's aura erupted again, startling her. What are you trying to do? She hurriedly inquired. To get rid of the evidence, Xiao Tian exclaimed. With that, he delivered a punch, releasing a force so powerful it seemed to pierce through the heavens and earth. Both Zhongling and Lu Yan raised their arms to shield themselves from the raging wind. Moments later, Xiao Tian exhaled deeply, sending forth a tornado that seemed to connect the earth to the sky. Zhongling was in disbelief. Is this how you interpret disposing of the evidence? Xiao Tian smiled faintly. As long as the landscape changes and no traces of the past remain, that's considered disposing of the evidence. Once the dust settled, everything in sight was tranquil and calm. Zhongling held back her comments, thinking, this is more like reshaping the entire world. At that moment, Xiao Tian suddenly recalled something. The villagers in the town didn't see all this, did they? Lu Yan smiled and explained, don't worry, Prince. There's a defensive array around the town that obstructs the view from the outside. Xiao Tian sighed in relief. You scared me. I thought our peaceful days were over. Alright, I'll be waiting in the nearby woods. Once you're done, remember to bring some wine. Watching Xiao Tian's retreating figure, Lu Yan couldn't help but reflect. The prince truly is one of a kind. Despite his immense power, he's content to live off others and be this carefree and heartless prince. She patted the sculpture beside her and mused, isn't it wonderful? Just then, the townspeople, late to the scene and armed with hoes, rushed out only to find that the 2 huge mountains they were familiar with had vanished. Lu Yan chuckled and addressed the villagers. Elder Town Chief, it's safe now. Let's go back. The mountains just went for a walk and haven't returned yet. A young woman was animatedly recounting tales of Xiao Tian. The head of the Imperial Guard suddenly had a thought. Could it be that all the bad things we secretly said about him behind his back, he heard all of them? Hearing this, Xiao Tian, who was walking ahead, suddenly spoke. Of course, I did. You went home and criticized me for being a disaster for the nation, accused me of seducing the emperor with my looks, and said that I was too timing, enjoying what I have while coveting something else, referring to me messing with the young Zhongling. Zhongling looked at Lu Yan with suspicion. Sister Lu Yan, what have you been imagining? Lu Yan immediately knelt down. I'm so sorry, Prince. I apologize. Young General. Xiao Tian waved his hand dismissively. It's fine. Just a minor misunderstanding. Zhongling, with a cheeky grin, said, who would have thought that big sister Lu Yan, who seems so mature, would be such a gossip monger at home? Wait, at home? She suddenly realized something amiss. Prince, you could hear what Lu Yan said in her own house from the prince's residence? Of course. Xiao Tian smirked. Our dear Lu Yan here turns into quite the chatterbox at home, always mumbling non-stop. Lu Yan was left dumbfounded. It was clear Xiao Tian was doing this on purpose, thinking, you gossip about me? I'll embarrass you. Soon after, the group returned to the Zhong residence. Xiao Tian pointed irritably at the gate. Go back. Prince, I want to dine in the palace too, pleaded Zhongling. No, you've been in the palace these past few days. Your father scolds me every night because of it. It's so annoying. Lu Yan sighed in exasperation, thinking, if anything secret were done at night, wouldn't it be heard clearly? Zhongling, with a hopeful look, begged Xiao Tian, Prince, please let me go to the palace. Don't be so stingy. No, stop this act. You have parents and yet you don't appreciate them. I grew up without parents. You don't know how blessed you are. Upon hearing this, both Zhongling and Lu Yan were taken aback. They hadn't expected the prince to have such a tragic past. Xiao Tian waved it off. It's all in the past. I'm happy now. Resigned. Zhongling agreed to go home. Xiao Tian affectionately ruffled her hair. Good girl. Go home. Just then, Zhongling's father, Zhong Yangming, appeared and angrily questioned, what are you doing? Prince, you are the emperor's consort. Are you treating her right? Lu Yan, hearing this, immediately retorted, Lord Zhong, how can you say such things? How can you tarnish someone's reputation without knowing the truth? Zhong Yangming, taken aback, waved his hands defensively, but Lu Yan continued, her anger growing. You hold such a high position and yet you judge so blindly. I am disappointed in you. Zhong Yangming was taken aback and fell to the ground. He thought, such a righteous and loyal woman, and she too fell for the prince's charms? Zhongling chimed in, the prince was kind enough to let me go home to have dinner with you, and you behave like this? Linger, Zhong Yangming stuttered, at a loss for words. Zhongling grabbed Lu Yan and said, Dad, you can eat dinner by yourself tonight. Zhong Yangming muttered in frustration, what has the world come to? The issue with the refugees in the south hasn't been resolved, and now my daughter is being so disobedient. After a moment, he got up and prepared to return to his residence. Unexpectedly, the trio returned to him. Shortly after, inside a pavilion in the Zhong residence, Xiao Tian stared at a table full of delicious dishes, unable to prevent his mouth from watering. Zhong Yangming served the last dish, saying, please, everyone, eat. Zhongling giggled behind her hand. Prince, it's this dish. My dad once used it to win my mom's heart. Xiao Tian gave her a playful tap on the head. Show some respect. How can you talk about your father like that? Zhongling nodded with a smile. Zhong Yangming looked on in confusion. Why is my daughter so afraid of the prince? He thought, I better apologize and eat. He raised his glass. Prince, I apologize to you. Xiao Tian also lifted his glass and took a hearty drink. After taking a bite of the food and savoring the taste, he gave a thumbs up. The taste is truly amazing. As Xiao Tian continued to eat, Zhong Yangming was a bit bewildered. One shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but the prince's obsession with enjoying life's pleasures is strange. At that moment, Xiao Tian muttered something. Zhong Yangming asked, Prince, if you have something to say, please speak up. Xiao Tian hesitated. Can I come over to eat regularly, to taste the dishes you personally make? Your culinary skills are outstanding. Zhong Yangming didn't respond verbally, but thought to himself, does he expect me, the Minister of Revenue, to be his personal chef? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. The next second, Xiao Tian slammed a ring onto the table. I'll personally donate 1 million spirit stones for the relief of the southern refugees. Zhong Yangming's face changed instantly. Prince, what would you like to eat tomorrow? I'm free, so I'll personally choose the ingredients to ensure you have a delightful meal. Linger, can you help buy a chef's robe for me? We can't be careless with the prince's meals. Zhongling and Lu Yan stared in disbelief. That was a quick change of heart. Holding the spirit stones tightly, Zhong Yangming caught his daughter's puzzled look. He wanted to retort, you don't understand anything. The refugees can neither be ignored nor easily settled. Now that we have funds, I'd even call him Dad if needed. By the way, Prince, are these spirit stones legitimate? I hope they weren't sneaked out from the palace. Xiao Tian waved dismissively. Don't worry, these spirit stones were compensation for an apology someone owed me. Make sure you don't mention it came from me. This is my private stash. The emperor can't know. Feeling reassured, Zhong Yangming said, I promise I'll keep it secret. Xiao Tian sighed in relief. You have no idea how hard it was to get this money and what those people did to me. Hearing Xiao Tian's indignant tone, Zhong Yangming's imagination ran wild, picturing him suffering some severe torture. He quickly comforted, thank you for your generosity. On the side, Zhongling and Lu Yan were even more shocked. Did the Blood Cloud Tower force you to wipe out their entire clan, and you emptied their treasury? Suddenly, Xiao Tian asked, Minister Zhong, how do you plan to use these funds? I intend to purchase relief supplies and send them, as well as fund the construction of temporary shelters until they can harvest their crops. Xiao Tian shook his head. That's not efficient, and it might lead to problems. Why not try a work for relief approach? Zhong Yangming was taken aback. What do you mean by work for relief? Xiao Tian explained. Look at the refugees in the south. They lack everything but manpower, right? Why not use this money to employ them? We're providing relief. How can we employ them? Why not? Instead of letting a large group of people sit idle and cause trouble, use the money to buy food and goods as wages. Employ them to repair bridges, roads, and cultivate wastelands. Let them fill their bellies and help build the Great Flame. And with no extra energy for mischief, why not? This method can also scatter the refugees, avoiding the gathering of acquaintances who might muster courage together to cause trouble. Think about it. Zhong Yangming had a sudden realization. This is killing multiple birds with one stone. Brilliant. Prince, whenever you crave crave for food in the future, just let me know. I might not be confident about other things, but when it comes to culinary skills in the entire Great Flame Dynasty, I consider myself second to none. He patted his chest with pride. Xiao Tian smirked. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I'd like a midnight snack later, alright? The two exchanged amused glances. The two girls felt something was off about the situation. Until that day, Zhong Lishuang stood atop the city walls, gazing at the Empress who had been trapped. After being calm for half a month, the time for her breakthrough was near. The barbarian kingdom's Grand Elder urgently ordered the soldiers to retreat, realizing that the Empress was about to advance to the 9th rank. Soon, the Empress opened her eyes with a cold hum. Her aura surged out like a landslide or a tsunami, causing the barbarian soldiers to flee in panic, fearing they would be left behind as fodder. The next moment, the ceiling formation was shattered with a loud bang by the Empress. Holding her sword majestically, she remarked, "Old man, you sure ran fast. But no matter how fast you run, can you escape the sword energy from a 9th rank?" The Empress swung her sword, and the chilling sword energy instantly froze the soldiers running behind. The elder from the barbarian tribe gritted his teeth and sprinted at full speed, suddenly feeling a chill from behind. He was taken aback, never expecting the might of a 9th rank practitioner to be so terrifying. Hastily, he turned around and employed his life's most formidable skill, conjuring a giant illusionary figure to block the attack. But the giant figure, fragile as foam, was effortlessly torn apart by the sword energy. The elder, like a kite with a broken string, plummeted to the ground, creating a massive crater. Moments later, he struggled to his feet, his facial mask shattered, realizing the true terror of a 9th rank expert. On the other hand, the Empress chose not to pursue further. She returned to the city walls, ordered the deputy general to stay behind and take care of the aftermath, and to lead the army back once everything was settled. She decided to leave early with Zhong Lishuang to prepare for the impending turmoil. Along the way, Zhong Lishuang tried to comfort her. "Your Majesty, don't worry too much. There are formations everywhere now that can delay the poisonous marsh elder's actions for a bit." The Empress, however, was still concerned. "The poisonous marsh elder is an 8th rank. These formations won't hold him for long. I just hope that the Great Flame hasn't suffered significant damage." Soon after, the duo reached the town where two large mountains were previously located, only to find them gone. Zhong Lishuang was dumbfounded. The Empress observed for a while and speculated. "There's no accumulated dirt nearby, but there's a layer of dust on the distant mountains. I suspect someone pulverized these two mountains into dust with a single strike." "A single strike? Your Majesty, now that you're a 9th rank, how do you measure up against this person?" The Empress gave a bitter smile. "You're overestimating me. I couldn't even gauge his strength. How could I possibly be his match?" "Your Majesty, could the person responsible be a 10th rank?" "No, that's the most terrifying part. If he was 10th rank, I'd be able to recognize it. Whose power could surpass the 10th rank?" When she returned victorious from the northern expedition, she discovered that Xiao Tian had grown surprisingly close to the head of her imperial guard and Zhong Lishuang's daughter. Both seemed to hold this freeloading man in high regard, showing him much respect. Xiao Tian was trying to distance himself from their fervent attention when he suddenly sensed a murderous intent nearby. Taking a closer look, he realized it was his wife, the Empress, returning. Standing by the Empress, Zhong Lishuang was pointing at her daughter, scolding, "Zhongling, how many days has it been since you last got a beating? You're itching for another one, huh?" The three who were in the middle of their banter were dumbfounded. Zhongling, startled, dropped her bun. "Oh no, how did mother return so soon? And if I'm not mistaken, that's Her Majesty beside her." The head of the Imperial Guard, Lu Yan, whispered, "I once misunderstood your relationship with Prince Xiao Tian, just like your father did. I even wrote a letter to the general about it." Upon hearing this, Xiao Tian was horrified. "What the heck? Commander Lu, are you trying to get me in trouble?" Zhong Lishuang, noticing them whispering, approached with evident anger, clearly ready to mete out some punishment. Zhongling, terrified, hid behind Xiao Tian. In his panic, Xiao Tian exclaimed, "Kid, why are you hiding behind me? Hide behind your sister Lu. Are you trying to make things even worse?" Zhongling meekly replied, "Prince, please just block for a moment. With Her Majesty here, mother won't lay a hand on you. Are you sure about that?" Looking at the furious Zhong Lishuang standing in front of him, she sternly told him, "Prince, move aside." Staring at the nearly 2-meter-tall, muscle-bound figure, Xiao Tian couldn't help think, "Minister Zhong, you're the real man." He tried to mediate. "General Zhong, beating a child in public might traumatize her." Zhong Lishuang, without hesitation and clenching her fist threateningly, said, "Prince, I'm trying to reason with you out of respect for Her Majesty, but that doesn't mean I won't act." Hearing this, Zhongling quickly threw herself into her mother's embrace, exclaiming, "No, mother, you absolutely cannot lay a hand on Prince. If you must hit someone, hit your daughter." Lu Yan also stepped in to mediate. "General Zhong, please, let's stay calm and think this through." Zhong Lishuang, taken aback by their attitudes, responded, "You silly girl. This is Her Majesty's Xiao Tian. He's not someone you should be concerned about." Little did she know that what Zhongling was actually thinking was, what if Prince retaliates? What will Dad and I do? At this moment, a few robust young men stepped forward, asking, "Prince, is there a problem?" Xiao Tian quickly tried to reassure everyone, this is a friend of mine. there's no need to be alarmed. Disperse now. Since that's the case, I'll be leaving first. A villager responded, Prince, if you ever need anything, just give us a shout. Sir, it's getting late. Why not come to my home and rest? Xiao Tian politely declined. I appreciate the offer, but I have a banquet to attend. I must leave now. Seeing how warmly the villagers interacted with Xiao Tian, Zhong Li Huang was left in shock. Is Prince's allure really that strong? All of these villagers are men. Xiao Tian, gazing at the figure of his Empress wife, mused, my wife is truly beautiful. Admiring her graceful silhouette, suddenly, the Empress turned and gave him a deep look. Captivated, Xiao Tian thought, look at those eyes. They're like shimmering stars. Suddenly, the Empress approached and inquired, I'm very curious. What did you do to earn such adoration from the people of Green Flame Town? Xiao Tian grinned slightly. When a woman starts to become curious about a man, it signifies she's lost to him. The Empress looked at him with confusion. What's he so happy about? I asked him a question, and instead of answering, he's laughing. In response to the Empress's query, Xiao Tian told her, just throw money at the problem. I simply funded the construction of roads for them. She raised an eyebrow. Where did you get the money from? If I recall correctly, you don't have that much to spend. Xiao Tian burst into laughter. Your Majesty, don't forget that I'm now your husband. I've been showered with gifts recently. It seems there are quite a few wealthy individuals in our court, but merely funding road construction wouldn't make the citizens so grateful. Zhong Li Huang felt the same, wondering how a seemingly frivolous prince could gain such adoration from the people. At this point, Zhong Ling chimed in, it's because the prince has brought prosperity to the people of Green Flame Town. Upon hearing this, both the Empress and Zhong Li Huang looked at her questioningly. Zhong Ling quickly explained, Green Flame Town is known for its delicious wine, which was previously only available in the capital. While it improved the lives of the citizens, it didn't make a massive difference. The prince then came up with branding strategies. Lu Yan then recited a promotional slogan, water from Green Flame Mountain, the essence of fine wine, great flame quality, the centennial vintage town of Green Flame wine. Even the Empress approves of the Great Flames wine. With the endorsement of the Empress and the guarantee from the Minister of Revenue, Sir Zhong, the Green Flame wine was renamed Green Flame Empress wine and became the most premium liquor in the capital. Now, a jar of this wine is worth a fortune. Xiao Tian continued, I had to use your name for the wine, Your Majesty. After all, I'm just a powerless and useless person. Zhong Ling and Lu Yan rolled their eyes. In their minds, they sarcastically thought, yes, you're useless. All you did was scare the poisonous marsh elder into taking his own life and destroy a few mountains with a single punch. The Empress's displeasure was evident. What do you mean useless? You are my man, the Great Flame Prince. No one has the right to call you useless. If anyone dares to bully you, I'll slay them for you with my sword. Xiao Tian was smitten. Damn it, she's flirting with me again. Someone, replace my bowl for eating soft rice with a metal one. Then, with utmost sincerity, Xiao Tian told the Empress, you, who makes fish sink and birds fall, outshining the moon and flowers, unparalleled in beauty and grace. My lady, Your Majesty. Empress responded with a calm face. Flattery will get you nowhere. I've never been a fan of sweet talk. But then, a faint smile on her lips betrayed her true feelings. Zhong Li Huang patted Xiao Tian on the shoulder and advised, Prince, the Empress has always been strong-willed since she was young. Trying to woo her with tactics suitable for young girls won't work, understand? Xiao Tian didn't reply, just gazed at the Empress's silhouette. You think I can't see through that veil? What works and what doesn't? That's just my wife Empress being Sundara. She might not say it, but she likes it. Pausing for a moment, he suddenly told Zhong Ling, your mother knows nothing, leaving Zhong Ling bewildered. Up ahead, Zhong Li Huang suggested to the Empress, Your Majesty, when we return to the city, why not dine at my place? Sounds good. I'm looking forward to experiencing Minister Zhong's culinary skills, replied the Empress. Soon, the group arrived at the Zhong residence. Xiao Tian, looking at his wife's back, suddenly felt her power had grown. Puppy, what's the current level of Empress Ziruoyan? Respected master, Empress Ziruoyan is now at the first level of the 9th rank, responded Puppy. Xiao Tian smiled. During her trip, not only did her level increase, but she also resolved the northern border conflict. My wife is truly amazing. As female General Zhong Li Huang led the Empress to dine in her home, the delicious aroma of food welcomed them. She assumed her husband had personally prepared the meal, knowing she'd be returning. Behind her, Zhong Ling remained silent, realizing sometimes it's better not to know certain things. Zhong Yangming sensed someone entering the room and without looking up, he cheerfully remarked, Prince, you're in for a treat today. I've prepared a golden-tailed white jade fish and some of your favorite side dishes. We won't stop drinking until we're both completely drunk. Only then did the Empress and Zhong Li Huang realize that the meal had been specially prepared for the prince. This was unexpected. How did even Zhong Yangming become charmed by the prince? As Zhong Yangming turned around and saw that it was the Empress herself, he immediately and awkwardly bowed in greeting. The Empress showed no sign of displeasure, saying, this time, as in the past, Uncle Zhong, just treat me as the young girl who used to freeload food and drink at the Zhong residence. Scratching his head in embarrassment, Zhong Yangming stuttered, I'll get more bowls and chopsticks. Your Majesty, please take a seat. He then quickly excused himself. Zhong Li Huang turned and demanded, what exactly happened while the Empress and I were away. Xiao Tian sighed with resignation. If the Empress found out he had been giving advice to Zhong Yangming, discovering his talents, and asking him to help with state affairs, what should I do? Moments later, as everyone settled at the table, Zhong Li Huang teased, Zhong Yangming, you've prepared this meal with such care and finesse. The Empress picked up a cup and asked, is this the famous green flame wine? Yes, Your Majesty, it indeed is the green flame wine. The Empress smiled. I've had it before, but it's truly delightful. I understand now why it's said to be worth its weight in gold, not only because of its reputation, but also due to its inherent quality. Your Majesty speaks the truth. Not only did Prince fund the construction of a distillery in Green Flame Town and employ the locals, he also improved the brewing techniques of Green Flame Town, revitalizing the entire area, and even volunteered to pay taxes, setting an example for the imperial merchants. Xiao Tian covered his face in exasperation, thinking, this is exactly what I was afraid of. Someone, please knock me out. I just wanted to live a simple life without any responsibilities. Misinterpreting Xiao Tian's reaction, Zhong Yangming assumed the prince was being modest and continued to sing his praises. If it were just that, it still wouldn't do justice to the prince's excellence. Xiao Tian was taken aback, thinking, is he really going to say more? Zhong Yangming continued, in the matter of the refugees from the southern border, the prince not only provided strategies but also funded the project himself. The only thing he asked in return was for me to satisfy his culinary desires, which is nothing in comparison. By now, Xiao Tian was completely stiff, unable to even muster a smile. However, the Empress had a look of admiration on her face. Seeing this, Zhong Yangming smiled faintly and said, Prince, this is as much as I can help. Xiao Tian understood Zhong Yangming's intentions all too well. He had always intended to live a leisurely life, not wanting to work at all. As expected, the Empress asked, with such talent, why do you keep calling yourself useless? Caught in a difficult spot, Xiao Tian wondered, how should I explain? Can I just say I want to be lazy? If he admitted that, he imagined the Empress would assign him loads of work, and if he refused, she'd probably whip him. His dream life seemed to be slipping away. To his dismay, during this simple dinner, his true nature had been exposed by Minister Zhong. Xiao Tian was immensely embarrassed, while Zhong Yangming looked quite proud. The Empress poured herself another drink and remarked, I didn't expect you to know about brewing. Hastily, Xiao Tian replied, not really, I just have a slight understanding. I'm mostly good at enjoying the finer things in life. However, the Empress responded directly, not many people earn praises from Uncle Zhong. Why do you look so worried? If I'm not mistaken, you just want to enjoy life without responsibilities. You're afraid I'll ask you to take up an official position and work hard for the Great Flame, aren't you? Xiao Tian was momentarily at a loss for words. The Empress reassured him, I promised you a life of luxury and comfort, where you could live carefree as a relaxed prince. When I summoned you with the talisman, I already owed you. I don't need you to do anything. Just be happy. Xiao Tian blushed, thinking to himself, oh my goodness, stop flirting with me. Suddenly, the Empress's expression turned fierce. If anyone dares to gossip and call you useless, I wouldn't mind playing the tyrant for once. I'd behead a few to strike fear into the court and silence these demons. Feeling elated, Xiao Tian thought, is this what it feels like to be pampered by the Empress? It's amazing. Changing the subject, she asked, speaking of which, when the poisonous marsh elder, one of the 6 evils of Black Soul Hall, died at the entrance of Green Flame Town, you were present, right? Tell me the details. Yes, Your Majesty. After some time, Lu Yan finished recounting the events. Zhong Li Huang, a female general, jumped up excitedly and asked, was it truly just one punch? Did this unparalleled warrior leave a name? Lu Yan replied with a grave face, he left the name, King of Hell. Moreover, he also destroyed the headquarters of Blood Cloud Tower. It has been confirmed by Astral Pavilion that the King of Assassins, Yun Zilonlai, has perished. The Empress struggled to believe the news. Are you certain this is true? Lu Yan, remembering her fiancé who was killed by Blood Cloud Tower, responded, Your Majesty, you're well aware of my vendetta against Blood Cloud Tower. I wouldn't make a mistake about this. The Empress mused, if I ever have the chance, I must personally thank the King of Hell for his righteous act on behalf of the heavens. Solving the major problems for the Great Flame Dynasty, whether King of Hell is a friend or foe, the benefits outweigh the drawbacks for Great Flame. Everyone present is enthusiastic. Only Xiao Tian looks guilty. King of Hell is actually his old alias on Earth. He just reused it. Zhong Yangming analyzes that King of Hell's actions have made him seem closely related to Great Flame. Zhong Ling and Lu Yan both agree that his presence will make others hesitant to attack Great Flame. In the meantime, Xiao Tian and Empress have been affectionately interacting. You really spoil Prince. Someone comments, will you hold court the day after tomorrow? Of course. What's the matter? Then you need to protect Prince. The Northern War is settled. You have no excuse to delay. You must introduce Prince to the ministers. Xiao Tian is confused. What does it mean to meet the ministers? Zhong Yanming explains that according to Great Flame Dynasty tradition, the Empress must introduce her spouse to the ministers. In simple terms, it's like meeting the in-laws. Will I be in trouble? Xiao Tian asks. Empress sincerely explains that she married him to give herself closure, not just as a shield. She mentions Lu Outyin, a name that brings a murderous look to her face. The Prime Minister of the Great Flame Dynasty is named Lu Outyin. Before my father disappeared, he held this position. He is both my teacher and my father's close advisor. The year my father went missing, my eldest brother ascended to the throne. The barbarian kingdom moved from the north. He led the troops personally and died in battle in the north. My second brother took the throne, and the Black Soul Hall in the southern border erupted in chaos. It affected the Great Flame Dynasty. He went south to quell the unrest and expand the territories, but was poisoned and passed away in the end. With Lu Outyin's assistance, I ascended the throne. I was 16 that year. Lu Outyin promised to return the power to me when I turned 18. However, Lu Outyin pursued his private interests, gaining immense influence in the court. If not for my secret strategizing and a decent natural talent in cultivation, progressing from nothing to the 7th rank in just 2 years, it would be very difficult to reclaim the power. On her 18th birthday, Lu Outyin came to talk about an arranged marriage between me and his son, telling me it's time to consider having an heir. I kept delaying until I learned the summoning symbols that brought you to the Great Flame Dynasty. So, Lu Outyin will definitely give you a hard time, says Empress. Xiao Tian ponders. No wonder she clarified that she didn't marry me as a shield. If she wanted to, she could have thrown me out by now. Seeing Xiao Tian's silence, Empress thinks he's afraid. Don't worry, even though I'm wary of Lu Outyin, if you don't want to face him, I'll protect you. Xiao Tian reassures her. No need, I'll go. Besides, with you protecting me, what can Lu Outyin do? Execute me in court? Zhongling and Lu Yan almost burst out laughing. You worry about him executing you? Just make sure you don't lose your temper and completely obliterate Prime Minister Lu. Empress, unaware of Xiao Tian's capabilities, cautions, you don't need to go that far, especially if Lu Outyin gets the upper hand. I worry. My adoptive father is not only a scholar, but also difficult to read in terms of power. I don't want to confront him unless absolutely necessary. Zhong Yanming interjects. Your Majesty, I believe in Prince. He may look like a pleasure seeker, but he's incredibly tough to deal with. Xiao Tian wonders, is he praising or insulting me? Zhongling and Lu Yan also chime in. Don't worry, Your Majesty. Prince won't be at a disadvantage. Since Prince has made up his mind, why not let him do it? Empress, not knowing Xiao Tian's full capabilities, can only sigh. You two are really confident in him. Zhongling and Lu Yan insist that their father is right and that Prince is not to be underestimated. Finally, female General Zhong Lishuang speaks up. Your Majesty, this is an opportunity to confront Lu Outyin. With your increased power, you have more confidence. You don't have to be afraid of that old man. Empress still looks worried. I really am concerned about what might happen in court. Xiao Tian cuts her off. I trust you. Empress falls silent for a long time. You're not afraid? Xiao Tian bursts into laughter. My wife is the one who secured the northern border with a single sword, a peerless beauty who rules the world. What's there to be afraid of? Hearing this, Empress smiles, a radiant, blushing smile. She stands and heads towards the door. If you're so determined, I won't persuade you anymore. There are piles of memorials to review. I need to go back to the palace. Xiao Tian knows what she's feeling. It's a two-way street. I can't let her flirt with me and not flirt back. All this talk about urgent work, she's not being sincere. Ah, women. As Zhongling and Lu Yan prepare to follow him back to the palace, Xiao Tian senses someone following them. This person is adorably clueless. Doesn't even know they've been spotted. Is this someone from the Prime Minister? Never mind. Let's not make a move if they don't. Suddenly, Xiao Tian takes off his contract ring from his left wrist. Zhongling and Lu Yan are stunned. Contract rings are bonds left by powerful realms to summon weaker ones. They are both laws and customs. Only entities of the 10th rank can break them. What are you doing? Zhongling finally asks. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. I'm just switching it, answers Xiao Tian. Zhongling is utterly bewildered. That's not what I meant. How could you talk so lightly about such a shocking act? Lu Yan clarifies. Young General is curious how you managed to remove the contract ring and switch its position. Xiao Tian, unconcerned, removes it again. Didn't you see how I did it? Here, I've switched hands. It's that simple. Just pull it off and put it back on. Both are rendered speechless. What's a major deal to others seems like a trivial matter to Prince. At that moment, Xiao Tian glances at the person in black still following them. When he sees Xiao Tian approaching his sleeping quarters, the figure darts off in another direction. When you're strong enough, you won't care about threats from ants. Zhongling suddenly whispers, Prince, are you planning to kill Lu Outyin outright? Wow, you're pretty savage for a kid. Why would I kill him for no reason? But Lu Outyin will definitely try to corner you in court. You'll have to show your hand then, revealing your strength strength. How about we just raid the Prime Minister's residence then? Before Zhongling finishes, Xiao Tian bonks her on the head. Holding her head, Zhongling complains, Prince, you'll break my brain like this. Your head's already full of water. Were we not just talking about Lu Outyin targeting me? Now you're suggesting I kill him. Do you think Empress would agree? Zhongling mutters, just say so. No need to hit me on the head all the time. Lu Yen chuckles silently. The once arrogant young general is now completely subdued by Prince. Xiao Tian ignores them. If I talk nicely, you won't listen. What can I do? Soon after, Xiao Tian lies down in his sleeping quarters. Puppy, let's watch a blockbuster. Alright, master, he tells the two women the usual rules. Train for an hour, then go home. As he speaks, electrical sparks fly around them. I've put pressure on your surrounding space. Start training as I taught you. Zhongling and Lu Yan assume positions for the body cultivating technique designed specifically for them by Xiao Tian. There's no ulterior motive. After an hour, Xiao Tian can finally train himself. Just then, he senses Empress approaching and she's brought a crowd. Walking out, he's astonished to see Empress with hundreds of beautiful attendants waiting in the courtyard. Prince, what are you waiting for? Come, follow me to the palace for rest. All this just to get me to go to sleep? Empress leads him into the room. She spots two puddles of water on the floor, thinking it's his sweat. People think you're all about leisure, but they don't see the hard work you put in. Have you managed to cultivate? Feeling guilty, Xiao Tian feigns exhaustion. Still can't cultivate, just stretching my muscles. Lost in her own imagination, Empress thinks he's just being modest. No worries, take your time. With me here, nothing will go wrong. Xiao Tian is captivated by Empress's smiling face. Wow, is she leveling up her flirting skills or what? Moments later, Empress is half lying on the bed reading. She glances at Xiao Tian, who's standing still. What are you waiting for? Don't you want to rest? Finally, Xiao Tian decisively removes his outer garment and joins Empress on the bed, lying down stiffly like a fish. Empress chuckles. This guy is really interesting. In the night, Empress extinguishes the candle, removes her outer garment, and lies at the opposite end of the bed. Don't be so rigid. To dispel suspicions, I'll often spend the night here. You act as if I'll eat you. It's just my second time sharing a bed with a girl, so I'm a bit nervous, Xiao Tian explains. His foster father always taught him that women would only slow down as sword draw. Suddenly, Empress asks, somewhat displeased, second time? Who was the first? It was you, Your Majesty, before the expedition to the northern frontier. Don't you remember? Empress replies, both my first and second times were with you too, you know. Empress then asks, I want to know, why did you go to court? I won't force you if you don't want to. Xiao Tian's face turns serene as he blurts out, loneliness. Empress frowns. What do you mean? Before I was summoned here, I was often alone. From a young age, I was too gifted, too strong. No one could be my partner. I had to complete missions alone. Now in this different world, I'm the only earthling left. It's like level 10 loneliness, times 2. Empress can't help but feel the same. Yes, I'm alone too. Hearing this, Xiao Tian turns his head and says, even if it's inexplicable, we're now husband and wife. Perhaps it's not entirely true in some ways, but in a sense, I have a family member, and that's you. At the very least, we're not alone anymore. Though I can't be of much help. If you want that position, I'll face it with you. Instantly, Empress's eyes fill with emotion and a sense of connection. Let's get to know each other again. Hi, my name is Ziruoyan. Hello, I'm Xiao Tian. Let's start, shall we? On that day, all the officials are waiting outside the Xuanwu Gate for the morning court session. A few officials discuss amongst themselves. I heard that the northern frontier has been pacified and that His Majesty has returned. Prince will also meet the ministers this time, but I heard that the Prime Minister has always wanted his son to be with His Majesty. Shush, lower your voice. The Prime Minister is coming. The man in charge of the government, Prime Minister Lu Outyin, arrives and silences them with a glare. His son, Lu Shimei, angrily looks at the seat next to Empress's throne. That should have been my seat. Just then, a sharp voice announces, the Emperor arrives. The Prince arrives. Empress takes her seat on the throne. Xiao Tian, however, looks puzzled at the phoenix chair next to her. To sit or not to sit? I'm not a woman. Sitting there would be embarrassing. Noticing his hesitation, Empress quickly asks, what's wrong? It's just this chair. Before he can finish, Empress commands, bring another chair. A man can't sit on a phoenix chair. Two eunuchs hastily bring over a snake chair and place it beside her. Once that's done, Empress gives Xiao Tian a flirtatious glance. Xiao Tian pauses, realizing that this was intentional on Empress's part. It's her way of signaling to the ministers how much she favors him. So, with a sweep of his robe, Xiao Tian sits down gracefully, a triumphant smile on his face. The ministers all bow their heads in silence. Zhong Lishuang covers his face. At that moment, Empress coughs slightly, and the eunuch beside her immediately announces, those with petitions, speak. Those without, court is dismissed. Seizing the opportunity, the Prime Minister Lu Outyin immediately says, Your Majesty, I have a matter to present. Empress glances at him. Granted, speak. The Prime Minister starts talking, and Xiao Tian silently chuckles as he listens. This is interesting. I never knew the Prime Minister was such a capable man. He has solutions to all the issues Ziruoyan has raised, and even provides comprehensive insights into the affairs of the southern frontier. It's clear that the Great Flame Dynasty owes much of its prosperity to him. Unfortunately, Unfortunately, ambition paired with capability makes taking back control very challenging for Ziruan. Just then, Lu Outyin suddenly says, "Your Majesty, Prince Xiao Tian has disrupted the rules of the court and seduced you. His virtue is not worthy of his position. I implore you to strip him of his title and execute him." With those words, the ministers instantly divide into two clear factions, one supporting the Prime Minister and the other supporting Empress. Both sides are at a standoff. Xiao Tian smiles slightly. The main act has begun. How entertaining. Zhong Ling whispers to Lu Yan, "Look, Lu, Prince is really something. People want to execute him, and he's still happy." Lu Yan gestures for her to be quiet. The worst that could happen is that Prince will reveal his true power and kill the Prime Minister with a single slap. Let him have his fun. Both of us are well aware of how terrifying Xiao Tian is. Empress then speaks up, glaring at Lu Outyin. "Prime Minister, Xiao Tian is my husband. You want to execute him on a whim? This is absurd." As she speaks, Empress releases her aura, sweeping over the ministers, who are all stunned and awestruck. She's only 20 and already at the 9th level. Truly unparalleled. Lu Outyin, however, merely smiles, thinking to himself, just a 9th level. How overconfident. Though thinking this, he still boasts slightly. Old servant congratulates your majesty on your progress. The people behind him are utterly surprised. Is the Prime Minister planning to concede? But regardless, now that the Prime Minister has spoken, they have no choice but to join in congratulating Empress. At this moment, Empress is not entirely calm within. I can't even discern his realm at my 9th level, and he can effortlessly resist my pressure. His strength is deeper than I imagined. Sure enough, Lu Outyin lifts his head and coldly says, "Your Majesty, it's a good thing to advance in cultivation, but the Great Flame Dynasty depends not only on strength, but also on ability and principles. Prince Xiao Tian, as your Majesty's consort, should possess talent that can span heaven and earth. Instead, he's engaging in dirty deeds that exploit the people. You are honorable, and the Great Flame is supreme. How can someone who tarnishes your name and reeks of vulgar commerce be fit to be your consort? Therefore, I request that we remove the prince." He continues, "Moreover, General Zhong's legitimate daughter, Zhong Ling, is always around the prince, not understanding the differences between men and women or distinctions in rank. And Commander Lu Yan, neglecting her duties, indulges in nonsensical activities with Xiao Tian. There's also the Minister of Revenue, Zhong Yangming, who has degraded himself to being the prince's cook. This makes us a laughingstock. Aren't these actions undermining the established norms of the court? Given how you're favoring the prince, will there come a time when the monarch no longer holds court? Therefore, I again request the execution of the prince." Zhong Li Xuan, the female general, is furious. "What's wrong with this old geezer, bringing up my daughter out of nowhere? She has done nothing inappropriate with the prince." At this point, her husband, Zhong Yangming, speaks up, "Your Majesty, the Prime Minister is talking nonsense. The prince established a brewery and modified green flame wine for the sake of building bridges and roads. This is about taking from the people to serve the people. How can you say he is exploiting them? Moreover, you may not know, but the Southern Frontier plan that you've been praising was actually Prince's idea. I am merely executing it on his behalf." Lu Outyin and his people are stunned, so that's why Zhong Yangming was so elusive about taking credit for the plan. Zhong Yangming continues, "You all know my daughter is fiery-tempered. It's only through her association with the prince that she has improved. Commander Lu Yan is from Green Flame Town, and under the orders of your Majesty, she's been assigned to guard and serve the prince. What's the issue? So I would like to ask the Prime Minister, how can you say the prince is not virtuous enough for his position and is undermining the norms of the court?" Empress laughs, and Xiao Tian can't help but give a thumbs up. Old Zhong sure knows how to speak. However, Lu Outyin coldly snorts, "Is that so? Minister Zhong, do you have evidence?" Zhong Yangming is stunned. "What do you mean? What evidence?" Lu Outyin continues, "How could the prince possibly have such ability? Minister Zhong, I have every reason to suspect that you are attributing your own deeds to him." As soon as these words come out, the court bursts into murmurs. Do you think Minister Zhong can provide evidence? Probably not. I didn't expect Minister Zhong would go to such lengths for the Empress. What's so good about that prince? Is he worth it, Minister Zhong? Zhong Yangming is shocked. He had only verbally agreed with the prince, and now he can't actually produce any evidence. Just then, a voice suddenly rings out. "You say Minister Zhong has no evidence to prove these are my deeds?" The one speaking is Xiao Tian. He looks at Lu Outyin with interest and continues, "Do you, Prime Minister, have any evidence to prove these deeds are not related to me?" The Prime Minister doesn't know how to respond, so he pulls out an ancient book, hoping that Xiao Tian will take a look. Seeing this, Empress bursts out angrily, "Prime Minister Lu, what are you trying to do?" Xiao Tian is a bit surprised. Why is my wife, the Empress, reacting so strongly? It's just a book. Can a book kill me? I don't believe it. So he smiles and says to him, "If you want me to read it, sure, no problem." Empress is terrified. "No, you can't read that book." Xiao Tian seems unconcerned. "Whether I should read the book or not is beside the point. Prime Minister Lu, what gives you the right to demand that I read it? You're not the Emperor of the Great Flame Dynasty, are you?" Hearing this, Lu Outyin's face turns serious. "I am fiercely loyal to Great Flame, and I am the Empress's teacher. Of course, I have to be careful in what I do. Are you, a scholarly and talented prince, unable to withstand understand even this test? Or are you saying that you're all show and no substance, conspiring with Minister Zhong to deceive and mislead us? Xiao Tian is speechless. This guy is really good at making accusations. If I weren't the protagonist, I might even believe his twisted logic. Don't read that book, Prince. This is a legacy book written in a different script. If you can't understand it, you'll die instantly. 17 people have already died trying to decipher it. Xiao Tian still maintains his smile. Prime Minister, you said earlier that reason should prevail in Great Flame, but the test you're now suggesting is entirely unreasonable. Lu Outyin doesn't explain but tries to provoke him instead. So you're afraid, Prince? Of course not. It's just that using this ancient book to test whether I am worthy of the Empress or am learned makes no sense. If I fail to understand it, I lose my life. But you, Prime Minister, lose nothing. Isn't that unreasonable? As he speaks, Xiao Tian walks directly up to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister's son, Lu Shimei, suddenly interrupts. Xiao Tian, don't try to muddy the waters or dodge the issue. Before he can finish, Xiao Tian slaps him. Adults are speaking. Children should not interrupt. That's rude. Turning his gaze back to Lu Outyin, he adds, Prime Minister Lu, how do you educate your son? Hearing this, Lu Outyin glares at Lu Shimei, who immediately understands and kneels down. Your Majesty, I behaved improperly in front of the court. Please punish me. Lu Shimei, you've acted inappropriately. Half a year's salary will be deducted as punishment. You may rise. Thank you, Your Majesty. Xiao Tian glances at him silently. I thought he would be easy to provoke, a weak point for Lu Outyin. I didn't expect him to calm down so quickly. Both father and son are difficult to deal with. At this point, Lu Outyin continues to speak. Alright then, when Her Majesty ascended to the throne, I acted as the regent. When I returned the power back to her, I had concerns about her potential recklessness. So, I did not fully return the keys to the secret treasury left by the late emperor. He then takes out a key. If you, Prince, are truly exceptional and will assist the Empress, then I don't need to worry anymore. This key should be returned to its rightful owner. In addition, I will offer 3 million spirit stones as a wedding gift to congratulate the Empress on her marriage. What do you think of this offer, Prince Xiao? Xiao Tian laughs outright. Not enough. I want 5 million spirit stones. Without that amount, I won't agree. Ha ha. Since Prince Xiao has such a good appetite, I can't be stingy either. 6 million spirit stones. Please, Prince Xiao. Saying this, he hands the ancient book to Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian takes the ancient book and smiles. Chancellor Lu, I'll thank you in advance for your generous gift of 6 million spirit stones. Just then, the Empress suddenly speaks up to intervene. Prince, don't be reckless. If you can't understand this ancient text, it could be fatal. However, Xiao Tian seems to pay no attention and has already opened the ancient book to read. Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly closes the book. The Empress is instantly shocked as if struck by lightning, and she can't help but exclaim, Xiao Tian. The Chancellor and other ministers also chime in. Prince, it looks like you won't be able to enjoy my gift after all. It's over. The prince is really decisive about committing suicide. Once you open this book, you have to read it through. If you don't understand it by the last page, you'll die. If you give up halfway and close the book, you'll also die. But not only is Xiao Tian fine, he also pretends not to hear the questions. Why? The Chancellor is immediately stunned. What the hell? You're actually fine. Xiao Tian nonchalantly turns around and says, while looking at the book, I'm just tired of standing. I'll go back and read it slowly while sitting down. Do you have a problem with that? Then, Xiao Tian sits next to the Empress and starts reading the book. The ministers below are all confused. What are you all looking at me for? The court meeting isn't over yet, right? You go on with your business, and I'll go on with mine. Empress is still a bit uneasy. Prince, do you feel unwell anywhere? Xiao Tian gives a slight smile. Thank you for your concern, Your Majesty. I'm fine. I assure you, I'll get hold of the Chancellor's congratulatory gift. Not far away, Zhongling and Lu Yan look at each other speechlessly. We knew it would be like this. How could anything happen to Prince? That monster. The Chancellor looks at Xiao Tian, who is engrossed in the book, and can't help but think, how is this useless guy unaffected by the ancient text? Could it be that ordinary people without cultivation are not affected by it? Just then, Xiao Tian suddenly closes the book and holds his head, silent, as if lost in thought. The Empress glances at him, thinking that being an ordinary person without cultivation does have its advantages. At this moment, she wants to tell everyone, look, my husband may be ordinary, but he's extraordinarily unique. Little does she know that Xiao Tian is on the verge of erupting. What on earth is this ancient text? It's like some kind of gibberish. Are we sure a human wrote this? He directly consults his system. Puppy, what kind of power is in this book? Respected master, this book is an ancient text passed down from the ancient god race. Its protective spells are powerful enough to annihilate beings of 10th level. Of course, it poses no threat to you, Puppy responds. Xiao Tian bursts into laughter. An ancient text from the ancient god race? So it really wasn't written by humans. This world seems more interesting than I thought, filled with non-human entities. Can you translate it for me? Puppy indicates. To translate this text from the ancient god race, you will need 3,000 mission points. You can obtain mission points by completing tasks set by the system. Xiao Tian's face turns cold. Can't you just translate it directly for me? I am extremely sorry, master. According to my system settings, I need. Shut up. I've already made a promise. If you make me lose face, you know the consequences. Puppy goes silent for a moment, then announces, mission assigned. Sit in the chair for 1 second to complete the mission. Congratulations, Master, your mission is complete. You've earned 99,999,999 mission points. The ancient text from the god race is now being translated. Xiao Tian can't help but want to laugh at Puppy's antics. Looks like I need to put some pressure on you to get things done. Improve next time. Got it. Apologies, Master. I will continue to improve. Down below, Prime Minister Lu Outyen has no idea what's going on. Seeing Xiao Tian continuously flipping through the ancient book, he becomes irritated. Is this guy mocking me right in front of my face? The Prime Minister can only sarcastically ask, Prince Xiao, have you understood the book? I hope you won't make some ridiculous excuse, saying it might be a fake or something. Xiao Tian smiles slightly. I have no interest in playing such petty tricks with you. He glances at an invisible progress bar. The next second, the ancient text in his hand starts to vibrate, emitting a humming sound. The text suddenly radiates countless golden characters, difficult to understand, but majestic. Everyone present exclaims in surprise. This is the Legacy Gold Tome. Even the Empress can't contain her excitement. Standing up, a deadly ancient book that has killed over a dozen people has now been unlocked by Prince. This level of talent should meet the Prime Minister's standards, right? The Prime Minister, sweating profusely, stubbornly says, while it's true the Legacy Gold Tome has appeared, Prince Xiao hasn't received its legacy yet. Who can guarantee that this wasn't caused by the prince randomly flipping through the pages and triggering some hidden spell, making the Legacy Gold Tome appear by itself? Just as the Prime Minister's words fell, the Legacy Gold Tome swished, and all the golden, archaic characters surged madly into Xiao Tian's mind. Xiao Tian calmly accepted the legacy. The officials from the Prime Minister's side were at a complete loss for words, while those aligned with the Empress wore satisfied smiles. A moment later, having fully accepted the legacy, Xiao Tian looked towards the Prime Minister and gently let go of the book. The Legacy Gold Tome dropped to the ground as if it were trash. Raising an eyebrow, Xiao Tian smirked. Prime Minister Lu, what do you have to say now? Or are you going to go back on your word? Don't make any ridiculous excuses, saying this might be a fake book. The Prime Minister clenched his fists, pondered for a long while, and finally admitted, I misjudged Prince's talent. Seeing him concede, Xiao Tian pressed on. So, about the 6 million spirit stones, you better not default. Also, Xiao Tian abruptly stretched out his hand and snatched the dynasty key. Anything that belongs to my Empress wife should be taken seriously. Waving the key in his hand, Xiao Tian continued, thanks, Prime Minister Lu. The Prime Minister was furious, but could only reply in a subdued manner. It originally belonged to Her Majesty, so there's nothing to thank me for. Xiao Tian shook his head. Prime Minister Lu, I'm referring to the Legacy Gold Tome and the 6 million spirit stones. Originally, I only asked for 5 million, but who would have thought that you'd be so generous as to give an extra million? As he spoke, Xiao Tian suddenly clenched his fist. The Prime Minister was taken aback, wondering, what is this worthless guy trying to do? To everyone's surprise, Xiao Tian simply extended a thumbs up, grinning naively and praising, thank you, you're really a good person. The corner of the Prime Minister's mouth twitched. I swear, this guy is so annoying. You're the good person. Your whole family are good people. The Empress quickly stepped in to mediate. Alright, my husband, don't be too unyielding. If you make the Prime Minister sick, who will send us gifts? The ministers chuckled quietly. Your Majesty has been influenced by the prince, using the Prime Minister's own trick of feigning illness against him. Feeling cornered, the Prime Minister could only grit his teeth and reply, thank you for your Majesty's protection. My gift will be sent to the palace this afternoon. The Empress, in high spirits, waved her hand and smiled. Then I must also thank the generous Prime Minister. If there's nothing else, let's adjourn the court. Upon hearing this, all the ministers prostrated themselves on the ground. Long live your Majesty. As they exited the Xuanwu gate, the ministers were all smiles, but the Prime Minister and his son had grim expressions, their moods at a boiling point. Meanwhile, Xiao Tian was cheerfully telling Zhong Yangming, the minister, I had a big win today, so I'll come to your residence for dinner tonight. A few officials aligned with the Empress quickly gathered around. Prince Xiao has truly uplifted our spirits. A closer look indeed reveals extraordinary temperament. You managed to overshadow the Prime Minister. His face was as black as the bottom of a pot. Xiao Tian grinned and waved his hand grandly. I like hearing that. 1 jar of green flame Empress wine for each of you. Have someone pick it up from Minister Zhong's residence later. The 3 were overjoyed. Thank you, Prince. You're so generous. Zhong Lishuang, a female general, also joined in. You're indeed very impressive. I have high hopes for you. Zhong Yangming then pulled Zhong Lishuang along. Wife, let's go. We should head home to prepare some good food for the prince. Seeing that almost everyone had left, Xiao Tian took out the dynasty key and examined it. Will that guy find an excuse to renege on the 6 million spirit stones? Lu Yan shook her head. He won't. If Lu Outyen said he would do it, he will. But this Prime Minister Lu is really a bit strange. I'm afraid he has some tricks up his sleeve. It's good that Lu Outyen has some skills. The current Great Flame Dynasty needs him to stabilize the court and assist in governance. Zhong Ling suddenly interjected. Right, Prince. What was the deal with the ancient tome that caused caused people to drop dead. Xiao Tian looked indifferent. That ancient tome? It's something like an inheritance book of an ancient god clan. The restrictions inside can wipe out individuals of the 10th level and below. Upon hearing this, both Zhongling and Lu Yan were stunned. Wipe out the 10th level? Lu Yan was the first to recover. What is this ancient god clan? Xiao Tian was also puzzled. You guys don't know? Both shook their heads. We've only heard of the human race and demon race. Never heard of the ancient god clan. Zhongling suddenly remembered something. Right, Prince. Does opening and closing the ancient tome repeatedly help with receiving the inheritance? Xiao Tian looked innocent. No, not at all. How could you have such a ludicrous idea? How could flipping the book help with the inheritance? Hearing this, Zhongling was even more confused. Then why did you keep doing that, Prince? Xiao Tian mind a little. Well, the power of the restrictions in the book felt pretty relaxing. Because the force was intermittent, I kept flipping it. Goodness, 10th level, a height they might never reach in their lifetimes. Is just this in the prince's eyes? That's a power that can wipe out the 10th level, and you're using it for a massage. Prince, for the love of God, please act like a human being. That night, within Prime Minister Lu's residence, Lu Shimei, the Prime Minister's son, was angrily complaining. Father, this Xiao Tian is pushing it too far. Why don't I find someone to take care of him? Saying this, Lu Shimei gestured across his neck, the meaning clear. However, the Prime Minister did not respond, only looking sternly at him. Lu Shimei started sweating, realizing he'd said something wrong. After a long pause, the Prime Minister finally spoke. Things have already reached this point. Don't ruin the big picture over a small, insignificant person. I'm very disappointed in your performance today. Father, Lu Shimei began, but the Prime Minister interrupted him again. One day, when we return to the Empire, with your current behavior, you'll hardly be suitable for grand occasions. Have you forgotten all the principles I taught you? I've realized my mistake, Father. The Prime Minister looked at the night sky. All these years, the day we return to the Empire is drawing near. We must be extra careful at this crucial juncture. Release the news that Xiao Tian has received the Golden Book of Inheritance as soon as possible. Let's give this scoundrel Xiao Tian some trouble. Lu Shimei hastily agreed. The Prime Minister felt a pang of discomfort in his heart. What rotten luck. If it weren't for the terrifyingly powerful individual called King of Hell randomly intervening and destroying Blood Cloud Tower, I would have kidnapped Xiao Tian and controlled Ziruan by now. We wouldn't have these issues. If he knew that the powerful individual who destroyed Blood Cloud Tower was that prince, he'd probably be packing his bags and running away by now. On the other end, inside a chamber of the royal palace, Xiao Tian had just returned from outside. As soon as he pushed open the door, he saw the Empress busy with official documents. Memorandums were piled high on the entire table. Xiao Tian was dumbstruck. So many? How long will it take to get through all of these? The Empress looked up wearily, her face full of melancholy. If it weren't for Lu Outyan's considerable ability, taking on more than half of the responsibilities, you probably wouldn't even see me standing here. Xiao Tian could only agree. Being the Empress is really tough. It's good that I'm just a freeloader, otherwise I'd be worked to death. However, the Empress didn't see it that way. Great Flame Dynasty is the fruit of my father's labor, and it's also what my two brothers gave their lives to protect. No matter how difficult or tiring it is for me, it's nothing compared to their sacrifices. Xiao Tian suddenly remembered. By the way, the 6 million spirit stones from Lu Outyan have been delivered to the palace. Upon hearing this, the Empress stood up and handed a key to Xiao Tian. Perfect timing. I have something I need your help with. This jade key pendant, along with the one you got from Lu Outyan, can be combined to form the palace treasury key. It opens to a treasury filled with the wealth left by my father. Xiao Tian took the half of the key and was stunned for a moment. I have to do more work, the Empress then explained. I'm giving you the key so you can manage the palace treasury. This way, no one can say you're idle and not doing anything useful. Isn't that a good thing? Hearing that he would be in charge of the treasury, Xiao Tian became instantly joyful. This is great. Saying this, Xiao Tian combined the two halves of the key. A ding sound rang out as the key suddenly emitted rays of golden light that enveloped Xiao Tian. The Empress didn't even look up. The jade pendant itself is also a spiritual artifact with protective effects. It can keep you safe. I have built a new treasury since my ascension. Have Lu Yan move everything from the new treasury into the main one. While you're at it, feel free to pick anything you like. Just don't exceed 2 million spirit stones. Great Flame still has many expenses. The things you brought over earlier are also in the treasury. Whether or not you want to take them is up to you. Xiao Tian was thrilled. This is too good to be true. Life's great. Having the ruler of a country backing me and being able to spend money freely. This is amazing. He immediately cupped his fists in gratitude and laughed. Thank you, Your Majesty. I promise to manage the treasury securely for you. Having said this, Xiao Tian turned to leave. However, the Empress suddenly called out to him, Xiao Tian. Xiao Tian quickly turned around. What's the matter, Your Majesty? The Empress slowly approached him, then broke into a warm smile. Thank you. Xiao Tian understood her sentiment and casually responded, You're welcome, my wife. That day, Xiao Tian, along with Zhongling and Lu Yan, visited the Empress's private treasury. Surprisingly, among the room full of rare and exotic treasures, the only thing that caught Xiao Tian's eye looked like a coffin. Zhongling was puzzled. This thing looks kinda strange, doesn't it? But Xiao Tian's eyes were filled with nostalgia as he gently touched the wooden box. What's strange about it? It looks like a coffin. Annoyed, Xiao Tian immediately gave Zhongling a flick on the forehead. Nonsense. This is a single-user armored weapons cabinet, and it's a custom-made version from my master. Upon hearing this, Zhongling was immediately interested. A single-user armored weapons cabinet, custom-made by a master? Sounds awesome. Can I take a look? Without thinking, Xiao Tian directly refused. This box had actually come with him when he was summoned. It was a weapons cabinet he used on Earth during his time as an assassin. If possible, he hoped to never use this weapons cache again. Subsequently, Xiao Tian called to the two women. Let's go. Let's check out my father-in-law's old treasury. Not long after, the three of them arrived at the entrance of the old emperor of the Great Flame Dynasty's treasury. Just as they were about to enter, they were stopped by guards at the door. The two soldiers shouted in unison, "This is a restricted area. No unauthorized entry." Xiao Tian smiled slightly. "I am the Empress's husband, and I am here to take over the treasury by her orders." Seeing the key to the treasury in Xiao Tian's hand, the soldiers immediately sheathed their weapons and turned to open the gate. Upon entering, the three were stunned. The entire space of the treasury was packed full of spirit stones and treasures, piled up so densely that it seemed overwhelming. Their eyes widened, as the room was so filled that it seemed endless. Xiao Tian couldn't help but exclaim, "Father-in-law, you really are something. This dowry is straightforwardly overwhelming." But that said, a founding emperor's private stash being dozens of times richer than the entire Great Flame Dynasty seems rather unreasonable, doesn't it? Zhongling was also dumbstruck and murmured, "How many spirit stones could there be here?" Suddenly, Xiao Tian patted Lu Yan's shoulder. "Go get the Empress. Let's see what she wants to do with all these spirit stones." Lu Yan nodded and immediately left. At this moment, Xiao Tian whimsically asked Zhongling, "Do you think your dad would faint if he saw this?" Zhongling shrugged. "My father has been in charge of finances for years. How could he faint over something like this?" Xiao Tian thought about it. Fair point. Just then, the Empress and Zhong Yangming arrived. Xiao Tian stepped forward. "What should we do?" The Empress was stunned looking at all of it, while Zhong Yangming suddenly collapsed and fainted on the spot. Everyone looked at Zhong Yangming speechlessly. Zhongling covered her face. "This is too embarrassing." A moment later, Zhong Yangming regained consciousness and excitedly examined the room full of spirit stones. "These could be used to forge new weapons. These could be used for the southern frontier. He. Finally, we can fight a war of abundance." The Empress, with a loving look on her face, told Xiao Tian, "If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have known that my father's private treasury had so many spirit stones. From now on, take as many spirit stones as you want, as long as you're happy." Hearing this, Xiao Tian was elated. "Take as many as I want? I've struck it rich." Not long after, Xiao Tian was the first to leave the treasury, with Zhongling and Lu Yan covering their faces and walking alongside him. Behind them, several soldiers were struggling to carry a bed made of spirit stones. "Lu Yan, won't this bed be too hard to sleep on?" Zhongling asked. "I don't know, as long as the prince likes it," Lu Yan responded. Xiao Tian was lying on the spiritual bed moved from the Empress's treasury. Suddenly, an eye appeared between his eyebrows, scanning around. Moments later, the eye transformed into a spiritual consciousness, showering down radiant light into Xiao Tian's sea of consciousness. This spiritual consciousness was a legacy spirit from the ancient god race. After examining Xiao Tian's sea of consciousness, the spirit looked incredulous. "Is this a human sea of consciousness? I must sense it again to be sure." The elderly-looking legacy spirit closed its eyes and began to mutter incantations. Moments later, he was enraged. "How is this possible? The lowly human race has no right to inherit the ancient god's legacy. They must have used some despicable means to steal it." Suddenly, a voice sounded in front of the old spirit. "Analysis complete. Legacy spirit of the ancient gods, responsible for imparting legacy knowledge." Upon focusing, the old spirit saw that the source of the voice was a tomato. But what was even more terrifying was what came next. Generally, the more starlight a sea of consciousness had, the stronger the soul. The old spirit had 99 starlights behind him, which was already incredibly powerful. However, this tomato had 3,000 starlights. He couldn't help but exclaim, Who are you? Isn't this supposed to be a human sea of consciousness?" "I am Puppy, the servant of my master. The sea of consciousness you're in does indeed belong to my master," Puppy replied. Just then, Xiao Tian also appeared. "Why is it so noisy here? Can a person get some sleep?" Upon hearing the voice, the old man immediately knelt down without any hesitation, muttering to himself, "This has to be a monster." Xiao Tian was enveloped by boundless starlight. At this moment, Puppy suddenly warned the old man, "Intruder, please step back. My master just woke up and might accidentally erase your existence." Hearing this, the old man slid back a good distance while still kneeling on the ground. Xiao Tian was baffled and asked Puppy, "Puppy, come here. Why did an old man suddenly appear in my sea of consciousness?" "Respected master, this old man is a legacy spirit from the ancient god race's golden scripture. According to my analysis, under normal circumstances, he would guide the inheritor with knowledge within the sea of consciousness," Puppy explained. Hearing this, Xiao Tian understood. "Ah, so the ancient god race looks like this? He even looks like a teacher." The old man chuckled and responded, "Indeed, sir, my appearance is in the likeness of the ancient god god race. But in his mind, he was pondering how to tactfully engage with this powerful figure. If he could pretend to impart knowledge and extract information from him, maybe the ancient god race could be revitalized. He. The next second, Xiao Tian suddenly leaned in close to his face and asked, "What are you thinking?" Caught off guard, the old man's face turned awkward. "Sir, Seeing his reaction, Xiao Tian suddenly shouted, "Why are you acting so guilty?" As expected, those who aren't from my kind have ulterior motives. You old wretch, you're definitely up to no good. Puppy, eat him. With a swoosh, Puppy darted past, and the old man lost his lower half. Seeing that his scheme was exposed, the old man's face turned angry. You're not playing by the rules, resorting to violence? Have you lost all sense of honor as a strong person? Xiao Tian coldly snorted. Just as I suspected, you're filled with resentment because your plot was exposed. Is this the intellect of the ancient god race's legacy spirit? As he spoke, Puppy had already eaten the old man until only his head remained, but he was still cursing and grumbling. Shortly afterward, Puppy informed Xiao Tian that he needed to upgrade. Well, nobody ever told me that a system could be upgraded by eating. That night, a shadowy figure was lying on a roof within the palace, peering through a hole at Xiao Tian. Worthy of being the Empress's beloved consort, so extravagant, even using so many spirit stones as a bed. Sadly, your days of comfort are over. The next second, the masked man plummeted down, holding a shining silver blade in his hand. However, the blade broke into two pieces with a clang, and Xiao Tian continued to sleep, oblivious to what had just happened. The broken blade fell to the ground with a clatter under the masked man's stunned gaze. Frozen in place, the masked man was at a loss for what to do next. Just as Xiao Tian began to wake up and saw someone standing in front of him, he too was startled. "Who are you? What are you doing here?" The masked man was sweating profusely. I didn't mean to. Do you believe me?" At that moment, a servant outside the room also called out, "Prince, are you alright?" Xiao Tian immediately shouted back, "I just accidentally knocked something over. I'm fine. Just send Lu Yan over." The masked man looked confused, having no idea what he was planning. The two guards outside who were about to break in also stopped and exchanged glances. "Yes, Prince." Xiao Tian then picked up the broken blade, curiously inspecting its material. "I can't believe someone would actually dare to assassinate me in the palace." The next second, Xiao Tian casually crushed the broken blade into a ball. The masked man was completely shocked. "What the hell is this?" "That was a high-level spiritual weapon given to me by my master." "Is the intelligence department in the palace filled with idiots? Weren't you supposed to be an ordinary person?" The masked man fell to the ground, shivering. At that moment, Lu Yan also rushed over. "Prince, what happened? I had just woken up when this guy tried to knock me out with a dagger. By the way, has the Empress noticed any of the commotion here?" "Don't worry, Prince. I was nearby. There was no disturbance here." The Empress was not alerted. Xiao Tian sighed with relief. "That's good, as long as she wasn't disturbed. By the way, where is the weapon?" Lu Yan looked around but saw nothing. Xiao Tian extended his hand. "It shattered when he tried to strike me. I was bored, so I was playing with it. Here, you can have it. It should be worth some money as scrap." Upon examining the small ball, Lu Yan was amazed. "Goodness, this is actually spiritual edge gold. Just this lump could easily sell for hundreds of thousands of spirit stones." Lu Yan immediately thanked the prince with a fist and palm salute, then turned towards the masked man. "Another one from the Black Soul Hall? Considering your age and that you managed to sneak into the palace without being detected, you must be one of the twin evils under the 6 evil shadow killer, right?" The masked man hurriedly smiled and said, "You have good eyes, ma'am. I am earthly killer Feng Meng. It was all a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding? You broke into the palace at night to assassinate the prince, and you're talking about a misunderstanding?" Feng Meng quickly explained, "I wasn't trying to assassinate you. I used the blunt side of the knife." "Prince, think about it. Didn't I use the blunt side?" Xiao Tian nodded. "Yes, you did use the blunt side." "Exactly. I came into the palace just to gather some information. I absolutely had no intention of assassination." Hearing this, Xiao Tian looked at him in silence for a moment, then turned to Lu Yan and said, "I feel like this guy is treating me like a fool." Lu Yan, the head of the Imperial Guard, also sighed helplessly and said, "Just accept your fate. Your Black Soul Hall is unlucky to have fallen into the hands of the prince again." The masked man paused. "What do you mean, again?" "As far as I know, only poisonous marsh elder from our Black Soul Hall has been here before." "Why are you saying again?" The masked man seemed to realize something, his eyes filled with horror and unease. The next second, he tremblingly pointed his finger and asked, "Are you the king of hell?" They had already received news that one of the 6 evils from Black Soul Hall, poisonous marsh elder, had been completely annihilated by a mysterious powerhouse. Also, the infamous assassination organization, Blood Cloud Tower, was completely destroyed by that mysterious powerhouse within a day. The world knew that this mysterious powerhouse had left a stele behind with the name King of Hell inscribed on it. Now they're telling him that this King of Hell is the useless prince in front of him, the man who's just a pretty face charming the Empress. The masked man was so scared that his liver almost exploded and his mind began to drift. He suddenly shouted loudly, "Prince Xiao, you are the King of Hell." As he spoke, he even vibrated his spiritual energy, trying to get this information out. Xiao Tian was slightly stunned by his loud shout. "Dude, why are you shouting so loudly? What if my wife hears this? Xiao Tian then waved his hand casually. Suddenly, a crack appeared in the space right in front of him. The masked man was completely stunned. Tearing open space with bare hands? Is he even human? Before he could react, Xiao Tian had already grabbed him by the neck. I was originally thinking of giving you a chance to start anew. I didn't expect you to be so malicious. Deliberately shouting loudly and vibrating your spiritual energy. Were you trying to alert His Majesty and expose my true abilities? The masked man was trembling all over, wanting to beg for mercy but unable to speak. Desperate, he gestured with his hands. Xiao Tian sighed. You'd rather die than beg for mercy from me, and even provoke me with gestures. Speaking, Xiao Tian sighed again. I guess I was overthinking it. Assassins would rather die than surrender. No sooner had he spoken than the masked man was tossed into the space crack. Xiao Tian then brought his hands together as if asking for the heavens to forgive his act of killing. After that, Xiao Tian chuckled. I really do treat others generously and hold myself to strict standards. Lu Yan listened and couldn't help but roll her eyes. First there was the destruction of the body. Now there's this generosity. Prince, your understanding is always so extraordinary. By the way, go and see if the Empress is still in the Imperial study and see if she was disturbed by the noise here. Just as Lu Yan nodded and was about to leave, a guard reported at the door. Half an hour ago, General Zhong Li Huang hurried into the palace. Soon after, the Empress left with her and asked me to inform the prince that she might not return tonight, advising him not to wait. Xiao Tian was instantly overjoyed. Isn't this perfect timing? My freeloading lifestyle is saved. Then, Xiao Tian waved his hand. Alright, you guys can go on duty. After the two left, Xiao Tian lay on the bed, happily thinking, I got a scare tonight. I'll have Zhong Yanming make me some extra delicious food tomorrow. The next morning, Zhong Ling was pacing anxiously back and forth in the courtyard. Zhong Li Huang, who had been searching all night, just returned and asked, any news of your father in the city? Zhong Ling, dark circles under her eyes and a dejected face, replied, no, I've searched everywhere in the city and haven't found any trace of my father. Zhong Li Huang clenched her teeth. I also searched around the Imperial city and found no trace of your father. Just then, a golden light suddenly fell in front of them. The aura was so astonishing that both of them felt like they were facing a great enemy. Who is it? Zhong Li Huang hastily asked. As the light dispersed, they finally saw that it was the Great Flame Empress. Zhong Li Huang hurriedly approached her and asked, Your Majesty, any news? The Empress shook her head. Aunt Zhong, I haven't found any trace of Uncle Zhong. Zhong Li Huang almost collapsed to the ground. It's my fault. All my fault. I shouldn't have argued with him yesterday and kicked him out of the room in a fit of anger. If he had been with me, he wouldn't have been abducted. The Empress also looked grim. I suspect the main reason Uncle Zhong was kidnapped has to do with the situation in the southern border. Under his administration, the southern border has become increasingly stable. He has rooted out many troublemakers hiding among the refugees. And to retaliate, they would surely seek an organization capable of infiltrating the Imperial city undetected to abduct the Great Flame Minister of Revenue. That leaves only one option, the Black Soul Hall. Upon hearing the Empress's analysis, Zhong Li Huang became even more worried. The Black Soul Hall is known for their extreme and violent behavior. The chances of my husband coming back safely are slim, she thought. Falling to her knees, she pleaded, Your Majesty, I've never asked you for anything, but I beg you to save him. The Empress quickly helped her up. Aunt Zhong, although we are in a ruler-subject relationship, I am also your little Ruoyan. Don't worry, I will bring Uncle Zhong back in my personal capacity. Zhong Li Huang, teary-eyed, thanked her. Thank you. Aunt Zhong thanks you. Seeing her so distressed, the Empress turned to Zhong Ling. Take good care of your mother. Zhong Ling nodded. In the next moment, the Empress transformed into a beam of golden light and shot up into the sky. As soon as the Empress left, Zhong Li Huang suddenly felt uneasy. What if the enemy is trying to draw her away? What if they haven't actually gone far? Linger, stay at home and don't wander around. I'll continue to search for your father nearby, she said before leaving. Left alone, Zhong Ling was anxious, pacing like an ant on a hot pan. What if mom is wrong? What if something has already happened to dad? Suddenly, she had an idea and thought of Prince Xiao Tian, who was likely still sleeping in the palace. She rushed toward the palace as fast as she could. Meanwhile, in Xiao Tian's side chamber, Lu Yan had just finished her physical training. Zhong Ling burst in, asking, Is the prince here? He's probably still sleeping. Young general, what's going on? Frantic, Zhong Ling exclaimed, My dad is missing. Lu Yan was taken aback. Your dad is missing? Without explaining, Zhong Ling rushed to Xiao Tian's room, pushed open the door, and shouted, Prince, wake up. Xiao Tian, who was rudely awakened, looked at her unhappily. When he realized it was Zhong Ling, he finally sat up, yawned, and asked, What are you doing here so early, you little rascal? Prince, my father was taken away last night, and we still haven't found him. I know you've said you're tired of fighting, but could you please help this time? Before Zhong Ling could finish her sentence, Xiao Tian exploded. What did you say? My chef was taken away. Zhong Ling was stunned. Chef? Prince, did you just give something away? My father treats you like a brother, and you see him as your chef? Realizing his mistake, Xiao Tian awkwardly replied, Ignore what I just said. Let's start over. Then, strangely, he lay back down on the bed, pretending that nothing had happened. The next second, he suddenly sat up, grabbed Zhong Ling by the shoulders, and shouted, What did you say? say? My good older brother was taken away. Zhongling and Lu Yan just silently watched him perform. The atmosphere became extremely awkward. Clearing his throat, Xiao Tian admitted, "Alright, I was just kidding. No wonder Her Majesty wasn't in the palace yesterday. Such a serious incident has happened. Who dares to kidnap the Minister of Revenue in the capital? Prince, have you forgotten? Last night, someone bold enough also infiltrated the palace and attacked you," Lu Yan reminded him. Hearing this, Zhongling was shocked again. What? Who's audacious enough to make a move on the prince? After pondering for a moment, Xiao Tian said, "Black Soul Hall. It's them again. How audacious. Why are they targeting me?" Both Zhongling and Lu Yan were puzzled. How did it become about targeting you, Prince? Xiao Tian looked serious. Think about it. Ever since I became the Great Flame Prince, I've kept a low profile. All I do every day is enjoy some good food and have a little wine. I haven't offended anyone, have I? Both of them stared at him blankly. It seemed like he was right. So, this Black Soul Hall. First, there was that old man who somehow showed up at Green Flame Mountain to ambush me. It may seem coincidental, but is it really? Maybe they discovered some clues about me from the Blood Cloud Tower incident, so they deliberately came to investigate. And this time, the man from Black Soul Hall who would rather die than beg for mercy, he came directly at me. In the Great Flame Dynasty, there are so many other people. Why didn't they target Prime Minister Liu Outyin, but instead kidnapped Zhong Yangming? Who's closest to me? Prime Minister Liu Outyin is a heavyweight figure in the dynasty. Them kidnapping Zhong Yangming shows that I have reason to suspect they're targeting me. Listening to this, Lu Yan and Zhongling were almost speechless. Prince, you're really overthinking it. In their eyes, you're just an ordinary person. Who would target you? Ignoring them, Xiao Tian continued. Now Her Majesty has also gone to Black Soul Hall. If she sees me taking action, won't my true abilities be exposed? But if I don't take action and something happens to Minister Zhong, I'll never get to enjoy delicious meals again. This is infuriating. Why do some people always want to harm me? I just want to eat, drink, and be merry. Is that wrong? No, this absolutely won't do. I have to go and eliminate them. Don't worry, I will bring your father back. With that, Xiao Tian transformed into a beam of golden light and shot towards the sky like a rocket. The maids in the yard, who were bringing breakfast, were startled by the sudden rumbling noise. Only after a moment, when the sound gradually faded, did they look around in astonishment. Zhongling then turned to Lu Yan. Isn't Prince a bit too sensitive? Black Soul Hall probably doesn't mean that, right? Lu Yan thought for a moment. Maybe before being summoned, Prince had some experiences in his own realm that make him always suspect people are out to get him. By now, Zhongling was no longer worried about her father. Lu Yan, I suddenly feel some sympathy for Black Soul Hall. What on earth did they kidnap my dad for? There's no need for that. There's nothing to sympathize with. Just like Prince said, this Black Soul Hall is a disgusting and troublesome force that deserves to be wiped out. Now that they've provoked Prince, they're just asking for trouble. Meanwhile, the Empress, who is out searching, hasn't found a single clue. She can't believe that they'd be able to get away with Zhong Yangming so quickly. She's already reached the border of the Great Flame. Should she continue to search further out? If she moves further south, it'll be Black Soul Hall territory. If she goes in recklessly, it'll be tantamount to tearing up all pretense of civility. No, I should not assume the worst just yet. I'll go search the south first. Just as she was indecisive, something was flying towards her at incredible speed from behind. Startled, the Empress immediately released a defensive golden light. What is this thing, and why is it so fast? A huge beam of light zipped past her. Its momentum was so great that even as a 9th level powerhouse, she would be obliterated if hit. Thinking she was under attack, she quickly unsheathed her sword, only to realize she had no power to resist. Suppressing her shock, she shouted, "Who is it? Identify yourself." With that, she slashed her sword, producing a powerful wave of sword energy. But this figure didn't pause for a moment and charged straight ahead. The Empress stared in the direction it went, murmuring to herself, "So strong. Who is this powerful individual? That direction is towards Black Soul Hall." A sudden thought struck her. Could it be he is the King of Hell? The mysterious powerhouse who destroyed the Blood Cloud Tower with a single punch, an existence that surpasses the 10th level? Empress quickly chased after him, eager to find out who this person was. On the other side, in a valley, a group of people were waiting in front of a teleportation circle. Moments later, a bearded man appeared in front of the circle with Zhong Yangming. All present quickly knelt on one knee and said in unison, "Greetings, Heavenly Killer." With a stern face, Heavenly Killer nodded and then escorted Zhong Yangming through the crowd. At this moment, Zhong Yangming felt a surge of emotions. Could this be the headquarters of Black Soul Hall? Yet the grand doors in front of him and the surrounding decorations looked fairly new, likely built within 30 to 40 years. If his conjectures were correct, then something was off about Black Soul Hall. According to what he knew, the existence of Black Soul Hall had to be longer than 40 years. As the doors slowly opened and the two entered the hall, Zhong Yangming was roughly thrown to the ground by Heavenly Killer. Then, with clasped fists and a respectful face, Heavenly Killer spoke, "My lord, I have brought Zhong Yangming from the Great Flame Dynasty." The man smiled faintly. "It seems you've acted much quicker than Earthly Killer. Any problems along the way?" Heavenly Killer continued to explain, "My lord, this man's wife, General Zhong Li Huang, reacted quickly. She went out of the city with Empress Ziruoyan to search for him. Unfortunately, they never suspected our hidden short-distance teleportation circles. The man nodded in approval. Very good. Well done. This somewhat sinister-looking man was none other than the master of Black Soul Hall, Bai Qinglian. Zhong Yangming had obviously heard of him and blurted out his name. You have good composure and courage, Lord Zhong, said the woman leading a few of Black Soul Hall's executives. She smiled. I'm curious to see if your courage is greater than that of most people. Zhong Yangming showed no fear. It looks like my odds are poor this time, and I probably won't be able to go back. So be it. I'm just a mere minister of revenue. Seeing such grandeur from Black Soul Hall before my death is not a wasted journey. At that point, Bai Qinglian finally spoke up. Minister Zhong, why so pessimistic? We in Black Soul Hall are reasonable people. We've invited you here to discuss a matter, nothing more than to help maintain Prince Xiao Tian's position. In addition, we would like you to collaborate with Xiao Tian to monitor Empress Zi Ruoyan's movements. Zhong Yangming paused. Monitor the Empress? What exactly are you planning? Prince Xiao Tian is just an ordinary person. Why are you so concerned about keeping him safe? Bai Qinglian chuckled behind his hand. What we plan to do and why we're acting against Lu Outyan are not for you to know. Hearing this, Zhong Yangming realized that Black Soul Hall wasn't the external force collaborating with Lu Outyan. But why did they want to monitor the Empress? What was the significance of that information? Seeing his silence, Bai Qinglian prodded. So, Minister Zhong, what say you? I admire you. You know, you'd best recognize a good opportunity when you see one. Grimacing as if preparing for death, Zhong Yangming clenched his teeth. I was but a penniless scholar, fortunate enough to be favored by the late emperor, which led to my current status. And the present empress, while a monarch in name, is also my niece who I've seen grow up. Do you really think I would betray my own family? Bai Qinglian chuckled. You've got backbone, but unfortunately, in our domain, backbone is the most useless commodity. Sufu, show Minister Zhong what you can do. A man named Sufu grinned. Alright. In the blink of an eye, Sufu morphed and appeared before Zhong Yangming, landing a brutal punch on his stomach. Sufu then pulled out a strange, large, and fat worm, forcibly prying open Zhong Yangming's mouth and shoving it inside. After the deed was done, he carelessly threw Zhong Yangming onto the ground. Despite his retching, Zhong Yangming could only helplessly let the worm burrow deeper into his abdomen. With a cruel smile, Sufu explained, this is a scent-sniffing insect, a very interesting type of poison. It's now parasitic inside you. Within 3 days, if you don't smell the specific scent, the insect will consume your internal organs. Its abdominal legs will also pierce into your flesh to suck your blood, making your life worse than death. So, Minister Zhong, how about it? You only have to agree. Light this incense, and your body will emit a smell that the scent-sniffing insect detests. It won't bother you after that. Zhong Yangming lay trembling on the ground, enduring immense pain, yet never pleading for mercy. Those present couldn't help but admire his resilience. Throughout this, he had not uttered a single cry. Only Sufu roared in what seemed like a loss of face. This is impossible. Why aren't you screaming? Don't you feel pain? After a while, Master Bai Qinglian, curious whether Zhong Yangming was dead or alive, couldn't help but call out his name. Zhong Yangming gritted his teeth and groaned, veins popping on his face. The next second, he actually stood up and shouted, the late emperor humbled himself to call me, a lowly person, his brother and friend. The current empress, since childhood, has called me uncle. This great flame dynasty is both my nation and my family. You, Black Soul Hall, think a mere finger-length poison insect can make me yield? You are laughable. Sufu seethed, irate that his methods were so belittled. Zhong Yangming, are you truly seeking death? Enduring the severe pain in his abdomen, Zhong Yangming burst into laughter once more. I, Zhong Yangming, would rather die standing than live on my knees. Upon hearing this, Bai Qinglian gave up on persuading Zhong Yangming to surrender. Very well, if you insist on seeking death, I will grant you that wish. Xuanyin, your skills are the best for the job. Your slices are the thinnest. Execute him for me. Hearing this, the masked man known as Xuanyin said nothing but instantly appeared in front of Zhong Yangming. Sufu muttered with some dissatisfaction, knowing that with Xuanyin in action, Zhong Yangming's death was inevitable. So boring. Xuanyin's blade then emitted an overwhelming aura. Facing the brink of life and death, Zhong Yangming couldn't help but shed tears. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I can no longer assist you. Linger. I won't be able to see you marry and have children. My wife. I'm sorry. I really shouldn't have argued with you last night. Just as Zhong Yangming was silently repenting, the ceiling of the Black Soul Hall suddenly shattered with a loud bang. Amid the flying debris, a dark figure slowly appeared before everyone's eyes. He had arrived. Xiao Tian descended from the sky, crushing an evil king underfoot as he landed. Seeing this familiar yet strange silhouette and feeling the bone-chilling pressure emanating from him, Zhong Yangming was stunned, tears still in his eyes. Xiao Tian turned his head and smiled. Good morning, Minister Zhong. Oh, why are you crying? The next second, Xiao Tian's eyes exploded with cold light. You dare bully even my cook? As his words rang out, an overwhelming force surged forth, causing several evil kings to vomit blood on the spot. Xiao Tian's face turned serious. If it weren't for fear of harming Zhong Yangming, why would I only shout those worthless individuals to death? And I just saw my wife Zi Ruoyan earlier. Xiao Tian then decided to take action immediately, lunging lunging towards Bai Qinglian, the master of the Black Soul Hall. Bai Qinglian almost wet himself. Wait, Prince Xiao. Zhong Yangming has a painful parasite inside him. Without an antidote, he'll surely die. Hearing this, Xiao Tian turned his head towards Zhong Yangming and saw him shivering all over. You're still lying at this point. He's not in pain. He's clearly stunned. Stunned? He's stunned because you scared him. Su Fu quickly explained. Prince Xiao, I assure you, I planted this insect. Without an antidote, he will indeed die. If you don't believe me, just ask Minister Zhong. The others also chimed in. Minister Zhong, please explain to Prince Xiao. Your life is at stake. Exactly, Prince Xiao. Zhong Yangming is your good friend and an important minister. You can't joke around with his life. Zhong Yangming was utterly confused. Who am I? Where am I? What are these people doing? Weren't they trying to kill me just a moment ago? What's going on here? After hearing their words, a still somewhat skeptical Xiao Tian finally asked Zhong Yangming, are you really dying? To which Zhong Yangming responded, are you really Prince Xiao Tian? Xiao Tian continued, a brat named Zhongling mentioned that when she was 6 years old, she had an annoying dad who would purposely aim his butt at her face before farting. At this, everyone in the Black Soul Hall struggled not to burst out laughing. Zhong Yangming felt his scalp tingle. Why would the prince use this to prove his identity? That damned girl Zhongling remembered something from when she was 6. What's wrong with a new dad having a little fun with his child? A moment later, Bai Qinglian stepped forward to comfort Xiao Tian. Prince Xiao, it's all a misunderstanding. Xiao Tian felt disgusted hearing this. Can you talk like a normal person? You sound so effeminate. It's nauseating. Bai Qinglian broke out in a cold sweat. Ahem, Prince Xiao. Sorry, old habits die hard. Enough. No more nonsense. Bring out the antidote. Xiao Tian waved his hand impatiently. At that, Su Fu took out a lamp, filling the air with a faint fragrance. Zhong Yangming breathed deeply, as if he were a fish returned to water. Xiao Tian was a bit puzzled. Is this the antidote? Zhong Yangming hurriedly explained. My prince, this is just to temporarily relieve the pain caused by the scent-sniffing insect inside me. It's not the antidote. Hearing this, Xiao Tian was instantly furious. You dare to trick me? Terrified, Bai Qinglian hurriedly explained. Not at all, Prince Xiao. We're just trying to make Minister Zhong more comfortable for the time being. As for the antidote, we hope to use it in exchange for the lives of the 4 of us. Also, we wish to form a blood pact for added security. Before Xiao Tian could speak, Zhong Yangming stood up to stop him. No, Prince, you absolutely can't agree. A blood pact is an unbreakable bond. Once established, you can never act against them. Zhong Yangming clenched his teeth. My death would be a small price to pay. The malignant tumor that is the Black Soul Hall must be eradicated. Hearing this, the people of the Black Soul Hall felt their scalps tingle. Their worst fear had come true. It wasn't that Xiao Tian was too strong. It was that Zhong Yangming was not afraid to die. Who knew that the next second, Xiao Tian suddenly spoke. Fine, let's form a blood pact. Xiao Tian then turned his gaze back to Zhong Yangming. If you die, where will I find another chef who cooks as deliciously as you? Besides, your daughter, that little brat Zhongling, would cry nonstop and annoy everyone if she knew her dad was really dead. Suddenly, Xiao Tian's face turned cold and he told the people of Black Soul Hall, let me give you some advice. Be more considerate in your actions. Remember, what goes around comes around. Nobody is spared by the heavens. Then, standing in place, Xiao Tian was surrounded by several people from the Black Soul Hall. Together they chanted, invoking the cosmic laws as their witness. In exchange for the antidote to save Zhong Yangming's life, Xiao Tian would never harm any of the Black Soul Hall members present. The antidote must also be effective. As the red glow of cosmic laws gradually dissipated, the blood pact was successfully formed. An imprint was engraved on Xiao Tian's hand by cosmic laws. Seeing this, Su Fu took out an antidote and gave it to Xiao Tian. After taking this, within 3 days, the scent-sniffing insect will dissolve into pus. With that, he tossed the antidote to Zhong Yangming. Xiao Tian then coldly warned them, I hope you cherish this opportunity. Take care. After saying that, Xiao Tian left with Zhong Yangming in a flash of light. Bai Qinglian and his men finally exhaled in relief. Finally, that guy is gone. A moment later, Bai Qinglian, who had recovered his energy, suddenly yelled at Su Fu, plant a scent-sniffing insect in every person in the intelligence department. How dare you tell me Xiao Tian is a waste? Make them suffer. Still stunned by Xiao Tian, Su Fu nodded mechanically. Don't worry, master, I'll make their lives a living hell. And these fools dare to say that Xiao Tian is a useless slacker? That man is clearly an incredibly strong monster. Another person scratched his head and asked, Master, what should we do now? Bai Qinglian gritted his teeth, his face full of resentment. It seems we'll have to ask for the help of high-ranking officials from the Holy Demon Sect's headquarters. Revenge is a dish best served cold. The blood pact only says he can't harm us, but we can still go after him. Xiao Tian overlooked this detail. Ha ha ha, I will definitely torture him and make him suffer. Just then, a hearty laugh came from outside the front gate. The woman shivered in fear and hurriedly patted Bai Qinglian. Master, annoyed, Bai Qinglian snapped. What are you doing? Haven't I said I hate being touched by women? Trembling, the woman pointed towards the gate. Master, look over there. Look. Reluctantly, Bai Qinglian followed the direction she was pointing and was dumbfounded. This is trouble. Hiding outside the gate were none other than Xiao Tian and Zhong Yangming, who had returned. Prince, we've been discovered, Zhong Yangming said. Xiao Tian stepped out and spoke. Old Zhong, do you know how to describe people like these? Zhong Yangming thought for a moment. I don't know. Prince, you tell me. With a smirk, Xiao Tian pointed at Bai Qinglian. It's called a leopard can't change its spots. Zhong Yangming chuckled. Indeed, the true source of happiness is built upon the suffering of others. All the people from the Black Soul Hall were terrified, but Zhong Yangming was immensely impressed by Xiao Tian. Though Prince may appear to be out of tune, he is actually very thoughtful. He went on to explain that Xiao Tian had told him earlier to observe these people to see if they had genuinely changed and had no intention of seeking revenge. Xiao Tian coldly stared at everyone. I originally thought of giving you a second chance to walk the path of righteousness. I even came back to compensate you for the roof I broke earlier, but you have disappointed me greatly. Bai Qinglian broke out into a cold sweat. Prince Xiao, I was just speaking casually. Besides, we have a blood pact. Zhong Yangming felt disheartened. I knew it would come to this. If not for saving me, Prince wouldn't be in such a passive position. The others from Black Soul Hall also tried to pacify the situation. Prince Xiao, the master is right. It's all a misunderstanding. We have a blood pact after all. Growing more audacious, Bai Qinglian continued. If you dare lay a hand on us, the rules of heaven and earth will fall, and all beings will be as insignificant as ants. Annoyed, Xiao Tian retorted. You're truly incorrigible. Even at this point, you don't know how to repent. You even speak in such a contrived manner. Just as I suspected, you people from Black Soul Hall have been scheming against me all along. Pointing at Bai Qinglian, he added, I've underestimated you. At first, I thought you were just trying to sabotage my relationship with the Empress through poisonous marsh elder and earthly killer, but I never expected you to be so meticulous as to trap me with a blood pact. Such a frightening mind, such poisonous scheming. Confused by Xiao Tian's accusations, Bai Qinglian wondered, what is he talking about? When did I ever scheme against him? If I had known he was this formidable, I would have stayed far away. The evil kings of Black Soul Hall looked at him in astonishment. Our master could scheme to this extent? That's incredible. Annoyed, Bai Qinglian retorted, why are you looking at me? I didn't do anything. How could I have used poisonous marsh elder? Wait a minute. Poisonous marsh elder? Bai Qinglian suddenly raised his voice. Are you saying that poisonous marsh elder died at your hands? Are you the king of hell? Xiao Tian replied earnestly. Don't make baseless accusations. Do I look like the kind of person who would kill indiscriminately? Poisonous marsh elder committed suicide, said Xiao Tian. Zhong Yangming, who was standing behind Xiao Tian, was now stunned. So Prince is actually the king of hell. The members of Black Soul Hall felt chills running down their spines upon hearing Xiao Tian's words. What on earth did you do to make someone prefer suicide over living another second? Are you a demon? Xiao Tian smiled and energy surged within his palm. Up to this point, you still have no intention of repenting, and you still slander me as the murderer. It seems you are rotten to the core. Fine. Today I shall act as an agent of heaven and send you all to the paradise. Terrified, a subordinate acted quickly out of fear, spitting out a large amount of poisonous fluid towards Xiao Tian while questioning. You've already signed the blood oath. Aren't you afraid of the heavenly rules? Xiao Tian just snorted coldly. So low and dirty. Even your moves are disgusting. As he said this, his gaze sharpened, and an overwhelming force burst forth from his hand. It rushed toward the subordinate with a loud rumble, like a laser firing. Looking at the marks left on the ground and walls, Zhong Yangming was frightened. Prince, why are you so impulsive? You should know, almost no one signs blood oaths because the vows are stringent and it's easy to break the rules. A severe violation will undoubtedly lead to death. Bai Qinglian also didn't expect that Xiao Tian would be so decisive, acting immediately. Was he not afraid of losing his life? As expected, at this moment, dark clouds gathered and thunder rolled in the sky outside the hall. A repressive atmosphere began to spread. Zhong Yangming looked at the sky, worried. The rules of heaven and earth can't be challenged or violated. Otherwise, calamity will strike, and under this thunder, death is inevitable. Prince, you're too reckless. At this moment, no one was happier than Bai Qinglian. He repeated the words that Xiao Tian had said earlier. The wheel of fate keeps turning. Heaven spares no one. As he spoke, thunderbolts, filled with rolling anger, rained down. It was as if the avatar of heavenly law was roaring at Xiao Tian. The people of Black Soul Hall reveled in Xiao Tian's misfortune, completely lost in their joy. Xiao Tian, however, kept his head low, seemingly somewhat dissatisfied. The next second, Xiao Tian suddenly let out a cold snort and angrily shouted, if you dare, try striking down on my head. As Xiao Tian's words fell, the giant dragon seemed to sense something wrong. Its pupils dilated in fear, and it quickly dispersed the dark clouds in the sky, replacing them with a beautiful rainbow. It then landed behind Xiao Tian and let out a soft roar, as if to proclaim Xiao Tian's sovereignty. It seemed to tell everyone, this Xiao Tian is my boss. Then it obediently began massaging Xiao Tian's legs and shoulders, acting very much like a sycophant. Zhong Yangming and the people of Black Soul Hall were completely stunned. They couldn't think of any words to describe their feelings at that moment. After the heavenly dragon finished flattering Xiao Tian, it slipped away as if its feet were greased. The group was so scared that they huddled together, trembling. Xiao Tian just smiled and extended his left hand, which was previously bound by the blood pact, saying, blood pacts may be useful to you, but they mean nothing to me. As As he spoke, he clenched his fist, and the pact vanished into thin air. Black Soul Hall's leader Bai Qinglian was completely stunned. What kind of freak is this? Even the laws of heaven and earth don't apply to him. Without any more hesitation, he knelt before Xiao Tian and cried out, "Prince, I know I was wrong. Please spare my life. This time I am truly repentant." Xiao Tian shook his head. "Really? I don't believe you." Bai Qinglian immediately put on an ingratiating face. "Prince, I know a shocking secret." "No need. I don't want to hear it," interrupted Xiao Tian. "People like you, who wreak havoc and kill indiscriminately, deserve to die. I already went against my better judgment by giving you a chance earlier. However, I'm a soft-hearted person. Considering you've spent years cultivating your skills, I'll give you one last chance. Like this. When I count to 3, you tell me one good deed you've done in your life. If you have, it means there's still hope for you." Hearing this, the group exchanged glances. This guy Xiao Tian is just a simple-minded, brawny fool. We just need to flatter him a bit, and we'll be saved, they thought. Zhong Yangming felt uneasy. "Prince, this doesn't seem right. These people don't deserve leniency." Xiao Tian just smiled. "Minister Zhong, that kind of thinking is dangerous. The world is already dark and difficult. If even people like us, who have the power, don't give them a chance to embrace the light, when will the light ever break through the darkness? Why not give them an opportunity? Now then, are you 3 ready?" 3! Upon hearing this, they were all stunned. "Wait, shouldn't he start counting from 1?" Before they could react, Xiao Tian made his move. "You're all so stubborn. I already counted to 3. Why aren't you speaking?" "I guess I was overly optimistic. But don't worry, I won't let you die out in the open." As he spoke, a black hole suddenly appeared behind the group and swallowed them all up. He also clapped his hands and lamented, "What's the use of having such power if you can't lead people to goodness?" Sigh. As expected, as soon as he was saved, Zhong Yangming suggested, "Prince, if you completely annihilate Black Soul Hall, the southern region of the Great Flame Dynasty will surely be stable for many years." Xiao Tian turned his head in silence. "You see, I've just revealed my power, and you're already putting me to work." Zhong Yangming felt awkward. Well, the capable should bear more responsibility. Xiao Tian took a deep breath. "You exploiting elites truly have no heart. Once my wife finds out about my real power, wouldn't I be busy all day and night without even knowing which way is up? No, I absolutely cannot reveal my strength." He turned towards Zhong Yangming. "I warn you, do not expose my strength when you go back." Zhong Yangming wanted to say something, but Xiao Tian continued with a smile. "If you dare to speak out, I'll tell Zhong Lishuang about the 167 secret stashes of money in your Zhong mansion. I'll also secretly abduct you to a brothel every night and let Zhong Lishuang catch you there." Zhong Yangming was horrified. "Prince, can you really say such malicious things?" "Fine, I won't say anything, okay?" "Prince, what about my daughter and Lu Yan and Black Soul Hall?" Xiao Tian waved his hand to interrupt. "Zhong Ling and the others already know about my situation and have promised to keep it a secret. As for Black Soul Hall, come with me." The two walked out of the main hall. Only then did Zhong Yangming notice that apart from the main hall, the rest of Black Soul Hall had turned into ruins. "What happened here?" Xiao Tian smiled. "When I arrived earlier, I came in too fast. The air pressure was too intense and it accidentally lowered the height of the buildings. As for them, they were probably crushed to death along the way. Perhaps this is retribution for their many evils." Zhong Yangming thought to himself, what a form of retribution this is. Moments later, the two arrived at a place that was relatively well preserved, sealed off by a large array. Xiao Tian reached out his hand and clawed at the air. The next second, the door was blasted open with a loud bang. The place was filled with rich spiritual energy and brilliant lights, probably where Black Soul Hall kept their ill-gotten gains. Upon entering, Zhong Yangming was stunned by the room full of spirit stones. Xiao Tian then called on his system, Puppy, to calculate the value of these items. To his surprise, Puppy informed him the system is currently upgrading and requires temporary maintenance. Xiao Tian was immediately displeased. "You can't even handle something this small. What's the use of having you? Might as well get rid of you here and now." Frightened, Puppy urgently paused the upgrade, calculating the total value of Black Soul Hall's stash is 32 million spirit stones. "May I continue the upgrade and maintenance now?" "Yes, go ahead." "Thank you, Master." And the system resumed its upgrade, entering maintenance mode. Then, Xiao Tian sighed and told Zhong Yangming, "The value of the stuff here is just over 32 million spirit stones. As compensation, it's barely passable. I didn't expect Black Soul Hall, which looks so grand, to be so poor." Zhong Yangming quickly explained, "Prince, the entire annual tax revenue of the Great Flame Dynasty is only around 10 million spirit stones." "Prince, shouldn't these be turned over to the National Treasury? Why are you talking about compensation?" Xiao Tian looked displeased. "Why should it go to the National Treasury? This is all compensation from Black Soul Halls by Qinglian to us." Zhong Yangming was puzzled. "What are you talking about? You've already made Bai Qinglian miserable. He's dead. Aren't you going to let him go?" Xiao Tian crossed his arms and began to explain. "Right now, I should be sipping some wine, eating some food, and waiting at your Zhong residence for the dishes you've prepared. But instead, I'm here because of Black Soul Hall. They were plotting against us. Shouldn't they compensate us 10 million spirit stones? I'll take 9 million, and you can have 1 million. Zhong Yangming was confused. "Prince, what do you mean by plotting against us?" Xiao Tian retorted. "You don't don't understand. Time is money. Time is life. Black Soul Hall wasted our time. How is that not plotting against us? In addition to compensation, we should at least get 10 million spirit stones for our services, right? For tuition fees, I'll take a loss and count it as 10 million spirit stones. And for transportation costs, 5 million spirit stones is reasonable. Plus the emotional distress you suffered from being kidnapped, another 2 million isn't excessive. So that totals to 37 million spirit stones. The value of this stash is only 32 million. Darn it, Black Soul Hall still owes us 5 million spirit stones. Looking at Xiao Tian's indignant expression, Zhong Yangming's worldview completely collapsed. How is it that someone who's already gone could end up owing you 5 million? Prince, the way you do your accounting is absolutely unparalleled.